Report. 55%. Chapter 21. 1 month later, the students gather, the plane of the devil. 1 month passed quietly. A few days after the 8th turn of the territory. Many heroes, arms and subordinates in the territory gradually wake up from the epiphany. 9-leaf sword grass, goblin and other heroes have all reached level 98, and their strength has greatly increased. And many arms and accessories, the qualifications are worse than many heroes. In the end, it did not break through level 98. But with the help of first ripe Bodhi seeds and enlightenment tea, the pea cannon and all the accessories also broke through level 98. Only 2 steps away from becoming a god. Aina and Keisha lamented that Su Yingxiang was against the sky. Treasures that can help people realize the Tao. Extremely scarce in the universe. And Su Zi's hero can actually help people understand the rules. Its value is immeasurable. With this alone, Su Zi can recruit countless gods to protect the way. And Su Zi also took this opportunity to sleep together with the 2 female big quilts in 350, and the dragon and the phoenix mingled. However, Xiao Wanqing and the Sun Elf, who are subordinate territories, seems to be affected by the rules. Always stuck at level 97. But as long as Su Zi's territory is transformed again, its territory will naturally be transformed accordingly. During this month, Su Zi posted a task on the school's task list, and at the price of an extra contribution point, bought plant-type troop tokens and hero tokens. When Fatty Wong learned of this, he didn't know what method to use. Got 5 million tokens and hero tokens for Su Zi. Almost all the plant tokens in Phoenix City were handed over to the 3 ministers. In addition to Su Zi's own acquisition, he provided 7 million plant tokens. This made some people curious and even wanted to hoard plant-based tokens, which once caused the price of tokens to skyrocket. But Su Zi's purchase price is always the same, and no one buys it except him. Soon, the price dropped again. However, there are not many plant-based tokens to buy in the market at this time. Not only that, Su Zi also asked his Aunt Li Muzzy to help her find someone in the Northern Territory to buy the plant token. It's just that there hasn't been any news recently, so Su can only continue to wait. This morning, surrounded by 4 tender bodies, she stood up with great perseverance. After washing, the figure of Su Zi appeared in Villa 81. I wish the master a smooth journey. Walk out of the villa, turn around and look. Wang Mengmong, Chu Yuyan's 2 daughters and Fatty Wang have been waiting for a long time. Seeing Su Zi approaching, he quickly came over. Your Highness. The 2 women stopped not far from Su Zi, and then bowed slightly to Su Zi. Even Fatty Wang looked at Su Zi with more respect, and even changed his title. Su Zi had also informed him and told him not to care so much. But Fatty Wang is very stubborn here. In this case. This has been the case since he ascended the Tongtian Monument. Occasionally walk in the school on weekdays. The other students either respected him or avoided him. Or it was the many female students who thought they were good-looking and gave him all the looks. But Su Zi has no feeling. Probably because the girls around me, in terms of appearance, can fight. And, when he goes out on weekdays, he is often accompanied by Bai Mengmong or Chu Yuyan. Some girls feel ashamed when they see them. Stopped a lot of trouble for Su Zi. The 4 walked together, came to a huge and empty lecture hall. At this time, there are already many people in the classroom. There were some noisy classrooms. After Su Zi and his group came in, they quickly became quiet. Randomly found a seat in the back. Su Zi and the others began to wait. This is a new event, and it is even more rare. There is a teacher to protect and go to another world for activities. Because of this, no one will miss this opportunity. The entire Phoenix Academy has enrolled less than 200 students this time. Each one is the most talented existence among the new lords every year. Only this year, with the addition of Su Zi, a monster born out of nowhere, all of them are doomed to be supporting roles. Time flies. Soon all the new students arrived. When He Wushwang saw Su Zi, he greeted Su Zi. Su Zi nodded slightly at him, with a calm attitude. Finally, He Wushwang sighed and sat down with a group of male and female protagonists. 9 in the morning. Da da da. There was the sound of a high-heeled shoe stepping on the floor. Li Muzzy was wearing a sky-blue cheongsam and slowly walked onto the podium. Calmly glanced around. When he saw Su Zi, he paused for a moment, then swiped across. Su Zi's eyes are calm. This month, he often communicates with his Aunt Li Muzzy, and has learned more about the Su family and the Li family in the Northern Territory. Li Muzzy gave Su Zi time to take him home to meet his relatives. Su Zi didn't agree immediately. There is not much estrangement between the Su family and the Li family, but they are not too close either. 7. Did not force him. Whenever he had time, he dragged Susie to chat about the family affairs and things about his parents. Let Susie know more about those wonderful parents. Due to the invasion of the three major dark planes, soul-fighting continent is now being invaded by the demons among them. 17. This time I will lead you to the soul-fighting continent. You will not only face the aborigines, but you will also face the demons. In this trial, how much experience you can get and how much rewards you can get from the heavens and other worlds is up to you. After returning, I will rate the performance of each student. Excellent students will be rewarded with contribution points, and those who perform poorly may face expulsion. Lee Muzzy's voice was crisp and clear to every student's ears. When they heard about dropping out of school, everyone couldn't help but sit upright. Because it is true that people from Phoenix Academy are expelled every year. Stop talking nonsense, let's go in. After Lee Muzzy finished speaking, he tapped his jade hand in the air. A blue circular vortex more than 3 meters high appeared. Without hesitation, everyone got up one after another and rushed into their master. Let's go too, Susie said to the people beside him. Good. The three nodded and followed Susie into the vortex. I don't know how long it has passed. Scatter 2.4 emits a whirlpool of light blue fluorescence, revealing a touch of white light. Out of it. The four of Susie came out of it. This is the cosmic void. Susie looked around. In the empty and lonely universe, there is a blazing sun star in the distance, exuding scorching temperature. Underfoot is a blue star whose size is unknown. Glance over. There are 3 continents in this world. They are located on the planet, east, south and north respectively. Among them, the eastern continent is the largest. Looking down, you can still see the crowd in the city below. Is that the channel connecting to the plane of demons? Bai Mengmeng suddenly pointed in a direction and asked. Susie, everyone looked. I saw over the northern continent of this planet. A pitch-black crack with a length of tens of thousands of meters exudes a terrifying evil aura. Report. 55%. Chapter 22. Planning, Continental Lotus, swaying millions of legendary armies. In the dark crevices, there are constantly ugly monsters of all kinds. Rush out of it, then spread out to the east and south of the mainland. Seen from the void, half of the eastern and southern continents have already been reduced to demon realms. Is that the demon race? What a disgusting, twisted species, totally unlike the races in the cosmic sea. Looking at them, I feel goosebumps all over my body, and I really want to crush them to death. It's a pity that this time is a trial. The Lord is not allowed to enter the world, otherwise I can easily solve these demons. That's right, after my arms go down to the lower bounds, I will definitely wipe out all these demons first. In the void, students looked at the grotesque, ugly and undead demons, full of disgust. Wen Yan, Suzy couldn't help shaking his head. Seeing this, Chu Yuyan looked at Suzy with some puzzlement. After your arms enter the world, don't worry about anything, go all out to become stronger, there is not much time left for the world of fighting spirits. Su-06Z stared directly at the dark crack, and spoke to the 3 of them. The expressions of Chu Yuyan and the 3 were shocked. Seeing Suzy's solemn expression. Keep Suzy's words in mind. At some point, Lee Muzzy's figure appeared in front of the crowd. Seeing their expressions, he sighed slightly. If the demons are really so easy to solve, it's their turn. It's time to teach them a lesson. The rules you already know. The will of the world does not allow life that is too powerful to enter its world, otherwise it is an invasion. You need to summon and arrange units from scratch. The other world will give you authority. How to use it and how to arrange it will not only test the strength of your arms, but also your wisdom. Even in the void, Lee Muzzy's voice could be clearly heard in the ears of everyone. Everyone nodded. Eager expressions appeared on their faces. Starting from scratch, this may be a rare opportunity. My unit is the Titan Colossus, which is inherently powerful and invincible. As for plants, they must be inherently weak. This will be an excellent opportunity for me to attack him. Xiaonan glanced at Suzy, thinking inwardly. In fact, not only Xiaonan, but also many people in the same class were all eager to try. After all, this rule is really beneficial to them with powerful arms. If they can be here, they can crush Suzy. The future also has bragging rights. My unit is the legendary vermilion bird, I hope you won't let me down. Feng Zixuan looked at Suzy the same way, with fighting spirit in her eyes. Even if Suzy is now on top of the Tongtian monument. Not only was she not conquered, but she even wanted to try to surpass him. Suzy naturally sensed other people's eyes, but didn't care. In this case, then you can act separately. If Soul Fighting Continent is devoured by the demons in the end, it means that you have failed this trial, and many of you will be expelled from Phoenix Academy. Speaking of quitting school, Lee Muzzy's words were a bit cold. Newcomer activities or trials are also a test for them. If you can't even pass this test, how can you enjoy the huge resources of the academy? When everyone heard the words, not only their expressions were solemn. According to the rules of this world, they put their arms down. At the same time, Suzy also began to understand the will of this world, the authority open to them. Rule 1. Arms can be converted into martial souls when the mainland humans awaken. Rule 2. Troops can be transformed into soul beasts and born in the soul beast area. Rule 3. Kill the demons and save the world, you can get a lot of luck. The arms can be turned into martial spirits, or they can be turned into spirit beasts and integrated into the Dodalu. Then there are many operations that can be done in this way. To plan luck, you need to eliminate the demons, and at the same time fight for hegemony on the mainland, you can also get luck. Become the destiny race of the world, and you can also get luck. Similarly, I can also start from this world and try to change the concept of plants. Suzy analyzed in his mind, and the plan in his mind became clearer and clearer. It's time for them to see what a real flora is. Then let's get started. There was light in Suzy's eyes, and a hero token appeared in his hand. Continental Lotus. Type. Plant Hero. Quality. Legend. Grade 1. 790 Physique. 200. X. 120. 300. Skill. Continental Lotus born in the ground, absorbs nutrients, can support a continent. Continental Lotus seeds concentrate a piece of continental essence, edible and touchable rules. Continental Crit gather all the power, send out a shocking crit, the bigger the body, the stronger the power. Introduction. I want to prop up a continent. This bento is the whole card. Suzy looked at the dark crack, and threw Dalulien into the world. Continental Lotus fell in a forest mountain range, directly integrated into the ground, and began to absorb nutrients. Soul Beast, how can there be no plants? Suzy chuckled, and millions of tokens of legendary units appeared around him in an instant. The 100 million source crystals in the inventory disappeared. The tokens of millions of arms, each token sprayed out several rays of light, shooting into the two continental forests. This scene left everyone around stunned. There are only 1 or 2 arms in them, and there are only a few in number. And Suzy, directly sway millions of troops. How can he compare with this? Report 1. 55%. Chapter 23. Do you want power? Million unit tokens. This huge number of arms directly confuses other students. Even Lee Muzzy couldn't help being surprised. They just realized the reason why Suzy collected plant units and heroes a lot in the previous month. Legendary troop template. Someone seemed to realize something and let out an exclamation. They know Suzy is an alien lord, a plant lord. But there are also many types of flora. But now Suzy directly swayed the tokens of millions of units. They realize Suzy's troop template, probably the top legendary troop. And the horror of the legendary template is only the tip of the iceberg. The legendary unit template can use all the units under the concept, but it can control millions of units. How powerful is the concept? Not far away, the male student exclaimed. Horror, just by summoning millions of troops, it can occupy the huge luck of the world, and once it grows up, it may even become a brand new race. This advantage is too great. Someone envied. However, the plant troops he collected are just the most common ones. There are many such plants in the world. Without wisdom, the luck they can occupy is very little. Some people shook their heads. That's right, life without wisdom, no matter how many there are, can't compare with intelligent creatures. They can't become a race of destiny. Everyone talked a lot, and after being surprised by Suzy, they quickly returned to reason. Suzy turned a deaf ear to this and completely ignored it. Looking at the plant arms that fell into the forest on the mainland. At the moment of falling, many arms have already begun to take root, absorb the energy in the air, and begin to evolve. Each of these millions of legendary arms has unlimited potential. Legendary sword bamboo, legendary piranha, legendary cactus, etc. They will transform into a brand new race of soul beasts and step onto the historical stage of soul fighting continent. It is equal to the beast soul beast. In this way, Suzy controls at least 1/4 of the luck of the entire continent. However, this is not enough. After deploying millions of golden units, Suzy looked at the human race area. The eastern continent is the main continent of the soul fighting world. In the name of the world, Ghost Continent, in the southeast of the mainland, there is a place called Soul Seal Village. In the great hall in the center of the village, a woman in rich clothes. I am doing Wahan awakening for a dozen children who have just turned 6 years old. At the end of the group of worried and frightened children, There is only one girl with delicate appearance and dignified features. She is a rare beauty. There is a determination and maturity in his eyes that do not match his age. Her name is Lan Yin, following her mother's surname. Her mother was once the maidservant of the Pope of the Soul Seal Temple, the top power in the mainland, and she didn't sleep with her after getting drunk. Because of the low status of her mother, she is the most useless plant martial spirit. So disgusted by the Pope. After she was born, her mother took her back to the village where she was born, intending to lead a normal life. But unexpectedly, some time ago, the official wife of the Pope of Wahundian somehow learned about their mother and daughter. They sent someone to forcibly take her mother away. Think of this. Lan Yin's eyes were full of hatred. Today, it is the annual martial soul awakening. Only by awakening a powerful martial soul and becoming a strong one. Only then did she have the hope of finding her mother. Zhao Feng, martial soul wild wolf, has no soul power and no qualifications. Next, Blue Silver. The lady's voice was cold and emotionless. She has been to such a village countless times. If it wasn't for the invasion of the demons, they probably wouldn't even have the chance to be awakened. Lan Yin walked quickly to the awakening circle in front of her, closing her eyes like the others before her. The lady's expressionless face will send out a burst of energy to activate the magic circle. Soon, the sky blue light appeared in Lan Yin's right hand. Lan Yin, Wahun Lan Yin Sao, 5 soul power, due to aptitude. Okay, you can go. A hint of disgust flashed across the lady's expression. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be a plant type in the end. Although there is some soul power, the plant type has no effect, so what if there is Wei Li? Too bad luck. It's the same as Mother's martial spirit, it's all blue silver grass. Lan Yin slowly walked out of the awakening hall, looking at the blue grass in her hand that was emitting faint fluorescence. Looking disappointed. Since ancient times, a plant-type martial spirit, with no combat power or auxiliary abilities. There is no value in cultivation. No, I can't give up. Even if it's blue silver grass, I can still become stronger. The 6-year-old girl clenched her fists tightly. She knows it will be difficult, but no matter how difficult it is, she will find her mother back. Born from a humble background, her mother was arrested, her character is resolute, yes, she has the protagonist's life. Every move of the little girl, Zhao Hao, was watched by Su Jian. In every world, there will be a protagonist. Especially when the world is in crisis, it will give birth to the children of the world. These people are the biggest obstacles when the Lord invades the cosmic sea world. Their luck is against the sky, and they can always save the day. Now this little girl, the child of the world, is only short of a powerful talent. Girl, do you want to gain power? Su Zi's voice rang in the girl's ears. Suddenly, Lan Yin was taken aback, looked around, but found that there was no one there. Do you want to gain power? Upon hearing this, Lan Yin suppressed the fear in her heart. Think, Lan Yin also said in a slightly immature voice. Report 1. 56%. Chapter 24. Nalan Ying, don't bully the poor girl. At the heart of a girl, there are not so many ideas. I just want to find my mother. Although she is only a 6-year-old girl. But I also know that I am willing to snatch my mother back from those people. Need strength. Alright, remember, let your martial spirit resound throughout the world of fighting spirits. Lan Yin only felt that the voice beside her ear was very pleasant. Next moment, in her right hand, only an inch-long blue-silver grass emerged. Then under its gaze, the blue-silver grass suddenly erupted with dazzling golden light, which made her almost unable to open her eyes. When the light fades, Lan Yin looked at the blue-silver grass in her hand, her big eyes widened cutely, and her small cherry mouth opened slightly. Blue-silver emperor. The little girl was a little amazed at the Wahun who had grown as long as an arm and was wrapped in golden silk threads. At the same time, the surrounding trees, flowers and plants are rustling. The blue-silver grass with a radius of tens of meters emits a faint fluorescence, and strands of invisible energy converge on the blue-silver. Boom. Lan Yin was a little dazed. The soul power in her body has broken through. Only then did she remember the voice in her mind just now, and her eyes were a little rosy. This is the best person for her besides her mother. There are thousands of words in my heart, but I don't know how to express them. 130. Don't worry, I will use it well. Let her name resound throughout the world. The young Lan Yin shouted loudly to the sky, her voice choked up slightly. Boom. At this moment, Lan Yin's body let out another breath shock. She broke through again. Void. Su Zi nodded slightly. Blue-silver grass and blue-silver emperor are quite a match. The golden quality plant martial spirit is no worse than any other martial spirit. I hope she can rise up. Su Zi hopes in his heart. At the same time, his gaze swept across soul-fighting continent. Perhaps it is the reason why plants occupy too little luck in the world. In the entire soul-fighting continent, among the millions of awakened people, only a few hundred people have awakened the plant-type martial soul. Much of it is due to inheritance from ancestors. It is naturally impossible for Susie to put all her eggs in one basket. With a wave of his hand, hundreds of golden quality arms were converted into martial souls. Some of them realized they were different. But there are also some who still follow their inherent destiny and give up the development of Wuhan. Susie doesn't care about this. The seeds have been planted, just wait patiently for their rise. Sweeping across the eastern continent, Susie looked towards the southern continent. This continent is smaller than the eastern continent. Different from the eastern continent, there are only 3 top powers, the Beidou Empire, the Tianluo Empire and the Soul Seal Empire. In the southern continent, there are many sects, and the country is controlled by the sects. In a small town in the southwest corner of the eastern part of the southern continent, the Nolan family is a century-old family in the town. And at this time, in a living room of Nolan's house, the elders of the Nolan family gathered together. I heard that Nolan Ying awakened from the plant department. In the hall, a middle-aged woman arrived with a 6-year-old child. That's right, the middle-aged man sitting at the front gave a wry smile. Did not expect. It took only a day to wake up, and the other party came to us. In that case, silver wedding. Especially a woman with a bit of charm threw out a piece of parchment, on which the word, marriage letter, was written on the top. That's right, I'm going to retire. I don't want to marry a trash when I grow up. The little boy pulled by the woman said arrogantly. All the elders of Nolan's family were furious when they heard the words, and rose up against the crime. Hey, what my son awakened is the rare Titan Elephant Martial Soul, which was accepted as a disciple by the Supreme Elder of Yunggong member. You Nolan family, do you want to die? Woman smiling. The son can awaken the world rare Titan and Elephant Martial Soul, and he will become a titled fighting spirit in the future. How could the small Nolan family be worthy of her AGFC son, who is only an awakened plant department? The Titan. What the woman said immediately shocked the whole living room. This kind of martial spirit, which is rare in 10,000 years, actually awakened the Xiao family. Moreover, he has already joined the Yunggong sect. Forget it, let's sign. The leading middle-aged man showed bitterness. He has no doubts. If he refuses, tomorrow, the elder of the Soul King of Tian Yunggong sect will personally come to find their Nolan family. At that time, the century-old foundation of the Nolan family may be destroyed in one day. HMPH. You know the current affairs. The woman snorted softly, with the joy of a victor. Is that you want to divorce me? Suddenly, a little girl with some nimbleness came out from behind the curtain, pointed at the little boy and said Xiaoyan. The girl's small face was fair and lovely, pink and tender like a white porcelain doll, with 2 ball heads tied on her head, and her small cherry mouth pouted slightly when talking. When had the little boy seen such a beautiful girl? His face was flushed on the spot, and he was speechless. She was so cute when she was young, and she is also a rare beauty when she grows up. However, your martial spirit is only of the plant type, and it is not enough to be my son's concubine. The words of middle-aged women are merciless. When his son becomes a titled fighting spirit, he won't be able to find any kind of beauties. 30 years in Hedong, 30 years in Hexi, don't bully young girls into poverty. Hearing this, the girl Nolan Yingqi's face flushed red, and she firmly remembered their appearance in her heart. PFF'd. Ha ha ha. Okay, my son is waiting for you. The middle-aged woman couldn't help laughing out loud, clutching her stomach, laughing uncomfortably. A plant-type martial spirit, and the overlord-level Titan once said 3,000 years. 30 years later, my son must have already achieved a title fighting spirit. A plant department, also delusional to compare with my son. Nolan Ying was young and didn't know how to refute the woman, so she ran out angrily. Hurry up and sign, what are you waiting for? Sending off the little girl, the woman looked at the leading middle-aged man and said. The middle-aged man shook his head and signed his name on the paper. Damn it, plants, can't plants really be strong? The backyard of Nolan Mansion. Nolan Ying pursed her lips slightly, clenched her white fists tightly, and her face was full of unwillingness. Since she awakened the plant department yesterday, those servants who used to be condescending to her dared to laugh at herself behind her back. I don't believe it. I, Nolan Ying, must become the top powerhouse in the world. Nolan Ying's milky voice echoed in Pingchen. Oh, then do you want power? Report. 56%. Chapter 25. World changes, troubled times. Nolan Ying was taken aback and turned her head to look around. Want to become stronger. A voice that seemed to come from the nine heavens rang in Nolan Ying's ears again. She wanted to run, but in her mind, all of a sudden, the hideous look of that woman. I want to become stronger. Can plants also become fishy? Nolan Ying asked eagerly, after waking up yesterday. From the disappointment of the parents, the indifference of the elders of the clan, and the whispers of the subordinates. She has understood. Plants have no future. But this voice from somewhere seemed to give her another hope. She wanted to seize this chance of survival. Certainly. After receiving the answer, a look of surprise appeared on Nolan Ying's pink and tender face. Please, I want to become stronger. I want to prove that I, Nolan Ying, are no worse than anyone else, and I want to become a title fighting spirit. Nolan Ying begged excitedly. Okay, remember your promise. Next moment, Nolan Ying's right hand suddenly glowed, and a pea emerged. This is her awakened martial soul. But at the moment, this pea is emitting golden light and growing bigger. In the end, it turned into a pair of black eyes the size of small peas, and a small green long tube. Pea shooter. Nolan Ying looked at the plant in her hand, which appeared for the first time. Feeling surprised. Can you become stronger by relying on this? Nolan Ying's heart was full of doubts. But that mysterious voice never appeared again. Void. Suzy finished dealing with Nolan Ying, glanced at the southern continent, and found more than a dozen botanical awakeners again. He also converted their martial souls. Then began to wait quietly, the moment when the fruit finally ripened. Time passed slowly. The two continents, even if everyone's strength is gathered, they still can't resist the raging attack of the demons. After all, there are too many demons, as if the source is endless, and they can never be killed. Many strong men died in battle, but also many strong men were born. Perhaps it was because of the invasion of the demon race that accelerated the birth of the Batman. On the two continents, the number of title fighting spirits, which were rare in the past, gradually increased. And there are a few everywhere. Once in 1,000 years. Even top geniuses who meet once in 10,000 years. Among them, the most famous one is the golden generation of Soul Fighting Hall. Among the 5 people, one of them awakened the holy beast Xuanwu soul and was accepted as a personal disciple by the Pope. In Beidou and Tianluo Empire, a group of geniuses also rose up. And in the southern continent, the top medicine king sect received a Tianzhao who awakened the vermilion bird martial soul. And the Yunggong sect made Shaoyan's giant elephant known to the public. Known as the peerless twins of the southern continent. Over time, many people who went to the forest to hunt soul beasts found that in the forests of the continent, a lot of novel spirit beasts appeared. There are dwarfs and dwarves who hold a strange and powerful soul tool in their hands. Some people even found a castle where spirit beasts lived in the forest. To amaze them. But there are also things that scare them. Someone said, he once saw dozens of bamboos that could move like swords hunting and killing a tens of thousands of year-old soul beast collectively. Under the unity and cooperation, the soul beast of tens of thousands of years was hacked to death within a few strikes. Then he was pulled by a group of bamboos and led into the depths of the forest. Unspeakably weird. Eastern continent. In a miasma-filled crater. A lotus flower with a size of hundreds of meters is in bud, and the layers of pink and tender lotus leaves are tightly closed. And not far away, numerous plant arms guard the quartet. At the same time, numerous plants of different colors lined up to kill the dead soul beasts. On lotus leaves as huge as a lake. And the moment these soul beasts were still on the lotus leaves, countless thin green pipes emerged from the lotus leaves. Inserting it into the pipe, frantically absorbing the energy from the corpse of the soul beast. 0. Seeking flowers. At the same time, under the Duhun continent, with the crater as the center, countless rhizomes of different thicknesses are spreading towards the surroundings. Kill. In a forest, Lan Yin controlled the strange smelly flowers around him, and killed a centuries-old soul beast. A few days, the soul power in her body has automatically overflowed. So she was alone, come to the outskirts of the Beidou forest not far from the village. Then from her into the forest. Behind her, there were some distinctive plants following behind her. And she found, they will obey their orders. 0. She herself understands that it cannot be because of herself. Then it can only be because of my martial soul. Who is he? He can directly change my martial spirit. Lan Yin looked down at the blue-silver emperor in his right hand. Somehow, she had a feeling that everything here was related to that voice. But since that day, she never heard that voice again. Become stronger. With such a miraculous martial spirit, I will definitely be able to save my mother and see him. Lan Yin took a heavy breath in his heart, walked to the side of the dead soul beast, and began to absorb the soul ring. And the surrounding plants began to protect her. Boom, boom. The forest of sun and moon in the southern continent, accompanied by a series of violent roars. Countless soul beasts fled in panic. Too strong. Nolan Ying looked at her martial soul in shock. Recently, her soul power soared all the way to level 10, and then she took advantage of the night to come to the outskirts of the sun-moon forest alone. She didn't tell her family, but concealed the news about her Wahan. Give them a big surprise in the future. The Titan, vermilion bird, who is stronger, not sure. Nolan Ying looked at the hundreds of soul beasts that were killed, and murmured 2 words to herself. Report 1. 56%. Chapter 26. 6 years later, growing up, maybe he is a god. In fact, the 2 are just a microcosm among the hundreds of plant-type spirits invested by Suzy. Many are on the rise. It's just that some were discovered and attracted some attention. Some were not discovered, and they just disguised themselves. On the 2 continents, the top forces may have discovered something is wrong. But their energy at this time has been completely supported by the demons, and they have no time to investigate. Time flies by. 6 years later, the geniuses of the top powers have grown so much that countless people have been shocked. In just 6 years, the average age is 12 years old. Eastern continent, the strongest of the 5 golden, 200 generations in the Soul Seal Hall has already broken through to the Soul Sage, and the other 4 are also Soul Emperors, who can break through at any time. And in the 2 great empires, from time to time, monstrous geniuses appeared to break through to the Soul Emperor, or were already attacking the Soul Sage. Their generation even shocked some title fighters. Star Forest, a slim girl wearing animal skin slowly walked out from the deepest part of the Beidou Forest. Stopping outside a lake bright as a mirror. Boom. Suddenly, on top of the girl's head, 9 soul rings of different colors appeared. 1 yellow, 2 orange, 3 black, 3 red. Different colors represent different ages of the soul beasts hunted. Among them, yellow represents 100 years of cultivation. Orange represents millennium cultivation. Black represents 10,000 years of cultivation. Red is 100,000 years of cultivation. If this match is seen by other people on the soul fighting continent, they will probably be scared to death. From the 4th soul ring, it is already at the 10,000 year level. Even more frightening are the 3 red soul rings on it. Representing the soul beasts that started 300,000 years ago, they were dealt with. In the past 6 years, she has entered the 95th level. With her strength, even a level 98 super soul fighter, she can fight. If in the home field of Beidou Forest, she can make level 99 extreme soul fighters drink their hatred. Mom, there is no one in the Soul Seal Palace who can hinder me now. The girl walked into the lake, washed it clean, and took out clean clothes from the Soul Guide storage device to put on. Slowly walk out of the Beidou Forest. She wants to take her mother away. Western continent, Yao Wangzong awakens Vermilion Bird's evildoer and Yunggongzong awakens Xiao Yan of Titan Colossus. The 2 have already become soul saints. Every year, they will stand up in the martial arts competition. But every time at the most critical moment, it will be stopped. 6 years passed. The 2 did not decide the winner. But recently there have been rumors. The 2 will decide the winner in the Forbidden Mountain. Forbidden Mountain. That's right, it's time to show my martial soul, I'm no worse than anyone else. Nolan Ying smiled lightly, and walked out of the family's backyard. 9 soul rings emerged behind him. 3 oranges, 3 blacks, and 3 reds. It is also level 95. But the soul ring configuration is even more terrifying than blue-silver. Because of her martial spirit, P-Shooter has a strong physique, which has a higher bonus to her. With her current strength, it would be more appropriate to integrate the P-Shooter, no, or the P-Cannon. It's limit du luo, if he gets shot. Even if you don't die, you have to be disabled. The current me, even if I am not the strongest on the mainland, I am still in the forefront, right? Nolan Ying remembered 6 years ago. That voice when I was most helpless. These few years, she wandered around the southern continent, and discovered that in recent years, strange plant spirit beasts appeared in many forests. Even some plants, mighty and terrifying. She has seen with her own eyes. A blood-red coquettish flower. Exuding an extremely alluring fragrance, Fangyuan Wanli's spirit beasts were madly fighting. In the end it devoured them all. Even she nearly died. Emergency moment. Her martial spirit appeared, and the bloodthirsty monster flower stopped and let her go. Strange plants like this. In the past few years, she has seen too many. She also met several soul masters of the plant department. Some of them are weaker than her. Some of them just looked at each other from a distance, which made her even afraid. This also let her know. She's not the only lucky one. But she will definitely do her best to get the attention of that existence. She didn't know how powerful the other party was. But it can easily change the martial soul, and can create unprecedented plants. Such existence, even a level 99 extreme soul fighter is far inferior. She couldn't help but think of some legends about gods. Could it be that Bin 1.3 is a god? Nolan Ying not only whispered to herself. Such means, I am afraid that only the gods can do it. If you can get God's approval, can she follow him? And thus live forever? Thinking of this, Nolan Ying's breathing became short. Eternal life. It is the dream of all strong people in the world of fighting spirits. And now there is an opportunity in front of her. That existence seems to want plants to be famous in the world, and I also want everyone to know that plants are not waste. In this case, let's make a big fuss. Report. 56%. Chapter 27. Soul Seal Hall, Return My Mother. The building of the Soul Seal Hall is always so towering into the sky, like a giant beast crawling on the ground. Human beings seem very small. There is a strange power in the whole hall. Going deep into it, you can only feel it. Not even sunlight can pass through. It makes the whole Soul Seal Hall look mysterious and ancient. On the land of Soul Fighting Continent, many new lives are born every day. But there are always many that disappear in the long river of time, or become the nourishment of other existence. Everything in the Soul Seal Hall is full of mystery and solemnity. On the Kangjuang Avenue paved with bluestone, the crowd was buzzing. They were all young people from all corners of the continent. Everyone's eyes are full of longing. They have only one goal. Pass the test. Become a member of the Soul Seal Palace. Due to the influence of the demonic invasion, the major forces in Soul Fighting Continent urgently need a large number of Soul Masters. Soul Seal Hall also began to recruit Soul Masters. Crowds of people from all over the world pour into this famous place on the Soul Fighting Continent every day. I can definitely join the Soul Seal Palace. A child linked arms and excitedly said to the partner next to him. Me too, said the companion next to him, not to be outdone, raising his chest. The Soul Seal Palace is the three top powers in the mainland. I never imagined that we would join in one day. The vision of the future flashes in the eyes of the ambitious teenager. That's right, if I can join the Soul Seal Palace, the whole family can benefit from it. At the end of the square in front of the Hall of Soul Seal, there are 2 rows of soul guidance platforms with a height of 100 meters, and 16 people are sitting on them. These people are the exclusive examiners of the Soul Seal Hall. Of course, this is just the most basic assessment. After all, the number of personnel recruited by the Soul Seal Hall is very large, and it is impossible to keep busy with only 16 examiners. Outside the Soul Seal Hall, there is still a circle of guards wearing standard armor. These guards uniformly held swords and shields, and they were tall and straight, exuding a sharp aura. Obviously, they are all Soul Masters, and they have been practicing for a long time. This year's Soul Seal Hall assessment actually requires the use of guards. Taking advantage of the hard-won gap, an examiner whispered to his colleagues. Hey, this is an order from His Excellency the Pope himself. Who made us have so many geniuses and monsters in this era of Soul Seal Hall? It's really scary. At only 12 years old, there are already 4 Soul Emperors, including a Soul Saint. Who says it's not? This kind of evildoer is rarely seen in thousands of years, and this time 5 of them appeared at once. I heard that the Beidou Empire and the Star Luo Empire also have monsters rising. Although these examiners were talking in low voices, their eyes were always fixed on the gate of the Soul Seal Hall, ready to deal with possible situations at any time. After all, every Soul Seal Hall assessment is a grand event worthy of attention. Wait, what's going on? Why is there a commotion? The sharp-eyed examiner suddenly caught an unusual commotion. The eyes of all the examiners were instantly attracted. Look, it's a girl. Who is she? Someone whispered. Follow his gaze. Everyone immediately understood the reason for the riot. A beautiful girl walked slowly towards the Soul Seal Hall. The young girl has an alluring posture, with a graceful figure, fair skin and beautiful appearance, with a hint of heroism between her brows. She wore a lavender dress, outlining her perfect curves. The hair is combed neatly and cleanly, and a hair falls down on the forehead. On the delicate and pretty face, a pair of smart and charming big eyes flickered, as if containing spring water. Everyone who sees the girl in front of them will be amazed, and even forget to think about how to speak, leaving only sluggishness and obsession. The crowd spontaneously gave way. Like a queen, Lanyan slowly walked to the front of the stage as the crowd got out of the way. Whose child? This is not the place for you. An examiner stopped her. Lanyan didn't speak, but just looked into the depths of the Soul Seal Hall. My name is Lanyan. The girl spoke, and the ethereal voice was like a lark singing. I want the Soul Seal Hall, and return it to my mother. Voice just fell. What the hell? Is this girl out of her mind? How dare you say such a thing in Soul Seal Hall? Doesn't she know what will happen to her when she breaks into the Soul Seal Hall? What did you say? The examiner was stunned for a moment before recovering Zhao's ability to think, and then couldn't help frowning. Are you here to make trouble? Return my mother, or I will destroy the spirit hall. Lan Yin spoke again, her tone firm. Destroy the Wuhan temple. All the examiners couldn't help laughing. They have lived for so long, and they have never heard such absurd words. Even those talented geniuses must be respectful and humble in front of the Soul Seal Hall. After all, this is the holy land of Soul Masters. But now, someone actually ran to the Hall of Soul Seal and said that they wanted to destroy the Hall of Spirit Seal. This is the biggest joke in the world. Looking at the group of laughing and joking examiners who are not serious about the matter. A murderous intent erupted from the bottom of Lanyon's eyes. Report, 57%. Chapter 28. The Golden Generation, The Doubts of the Lords. Boom. In an instant, a majestic and vast ocean-like soul power surged out of Lanyon's body like a landslide and tsunami. The waves swept the seats and rushed towards the stands. What? All the examiners couldn't help but lose their voices, but they are not easy to deal with after all. The moment he felt the fluctuation of Lanyon's soul power, he reacted extremely quickly to resist with his soul power. However, it doesn't work at all. The surging blue soul power shattered their defenses. Boom. A loud bang belongs to the audience. Many examiners in the stands were rushed out and fell to the ground, in a state of embarrassment. Only the ordinary-looking examiner managed to stand firm, but his face was still pale and horrified. The fluctuation of soul power just now was too powerful, it shook his mind and almost fainted. Come on, why are you still standing there? I don't care about the dignity of my own examiner. Looking at the guard standing up wobbly beside him. The remaining, only seedling, among the examiners shouted quickly. At this moment, all the beautiful love and the bright future are thrown aside by him. This girl in front of me is no weak vase. He 997 is very glad that he didn't make a move immediately, otherwise he would be the one who fell on the ground now. Yes, hearing his words, those guards also knew that things were getting serious. Immediately took out the weapon and attacked towards Lanyon. Court death. Lanyon snorted coldly, raised her slender and tender fingers slightly, and waved them lightly. Vientian Senluo. Boom. Turned upside down. The whole ground shook violently. A more powerful storm of soul power was formed in an instant. The guards couldn't dodge at all, and were swept out by Wei Li's storm wolf. Bang 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 bang. There was a series of crashing sounds. The bodies of those guards hit the wall hard, then slipped down, life or death unknown. Hiss. The onlookers gasped, their faces were full of horror, and their eyes were full of fear as they looked at Lanyon. Who is this seemingly delicate and lovely girl? With a single blow, those guards were instantly killed. Where the hell is she? You, who are you? The ordinary-looking examiner's face was constantly changing, and he opened his mouth through gritted teeth. Return my mother. Blue Silver opened his mouth indifferently. Hearing such a simple and domineering declaration. Everyone fell into silence. They don't know how to describe their inner feelings. For thousands of years, no one dared to say such words on this land of Wuhandian. Some bowed their heads, others looked at Lanyon with piercing eyes, with longing burning in their eyes. Where is the little girl from? In the arena, there was silence. An untimely mocking sound came faintly from the hall at this time. Sister, don't you know how powerful our Soul Seal Palace is? Another bone-piercing sound came. Accompanied by this voice, everyone's eyes shifted to the entrance of the hall in unison. There, a woman in a red dress with a slim figure and a charming temperament came slowly. There are two groups of flames surrounding her arms, revealing her powerful cultivation. Soul Saint. Next to the woman, 3 men and a woman followed closely. 5 people just show up. Field. All the personnel of the Soul Seal Hall who were still able to move lowered their heads respectfully, not daring to look directly at them. Even the examiner retreated to the side the moment he saw the 5 people. On the square of Soul Seal Hall, all the people who came to participate in the selection looked at the 5 figures slowly walking out of the hall in despair. Soul Seal 5 Heroes. It is also known as the Golden Generation of the Soul Seal Palace. At the same age as everyone present, they have already reached the unattainable peak of these people. This matter has nothing to do with you. Lan Yin glanced at those people indifferently, and then looked at the ordinary-looking examiner. Today, the Soul Seal Hall must hand over my mother. She said word by word, otherwise, I will tear down the Soul Seal Hall. Demolish the Soul Seal Hall. Among the 5 heroes, another blue-haired woman couldn't help laughing, it's up to you. Everyone scoffed. In this world, strength speaks after all. The soul power just released by Lan Yin is indeed terrifying. But for them, it's nothing more than mediocre. At least, among the 5 of them present, anyone who comes out at random is enough to crush the examiners present. Not to mention that there are other guards and examiners there. A mere 11 or 12-year-old girl wants to destroy the Soul Seal Palace. It's ridiculous. Are you sure you don't want to hand him over? There is a chill in the blue and silver eyes. Then we have nothing to talk about. Lan Yin didn't bother to say anything more. Keep moving forward. Where she passed, green vines grew slowly. The girl is strong, but he's too young. Above thousands of miles above the sky, He Wushwang cast a glance at Suzy next to him, and said with emotion. Just now, from the moment when Lan Yin marked the Soul Seal Hall, the attention of all the lords was attracted. Although they were all curious, this young girl who appeared out of nowhere. What kind of identity is it? To be able to possess such terrifying soul power. But He Wushwang still didn't plan to be optimistic about this beautiful woman. The 5 masters of Soul Seal are the seeds he carefully selected in this world. Each of them is at the level of evildoers. Even if this little girl named Lan Yin has not weak strength. But in the face of the entire 5 spirit seals, it's still not enough. He Wushwang smiled lightly, then cast his gaze downwards and continued to watch. He is absolutely confident that the person he chooses is invincible. While talking with Wushwang and Suzy, in front of the Soul Seal Hall. However, Lan Yin stepped up the steps of the Soul Seal Hall step by step, and walked towards the depths of the Exhibition Seal Hall on the top floor. She exudes a cold and fierce murderous intent, as if a peerless demon god descends. Report, 57%. Chapter 29. Crushing, Pope. And when he saw Lan Yin who was ignoring him and walking straight towards the Soul Seal Hall, the man who was the most rude and looked down on her before suddenly made a move. Damn it. Stop it. As the 5 masters of the Soul Seal, the 5 of them have long been accustomed to the awe and prestige of calling others around. Now, there is actually a person who dares to ignore himself. Anger instantly filled the brain. Men can't even think about it. After all, in the words of the Lord, they are all fighting spirits. Is invincible. Boom. As the man roared, behind him, the phantom of a titan giant ape suddenly emerged. With fierce power, it threw it at the blue-silver wolf. At this moment, the man seemed to have transformed into an ancient giant ape, swinging his palms into fists, threatening to kill Lan Yin. However, boom, blue-silver's speed, it's really too fast. She didn't even look at the man, raised her right hand, and slapped him fiercely. Boom. Hearing a loud noise, the phantom of the titan giant ape exploded and dissipated directly, and the man also fell from midair, bleeding from all 4 eyes. What he saw was dead and couldn't die anymore. Lan Yin withdrew her palm and hummed lightly, noisy. With firm steps, she continued to march deep into the Soul Seal Hall. Bastard, you wanna die. The other 4 were furious and went out at the same time. They are the arrogance of the Soul Seal Palace. Where did they suffer such humiliation? Thunderstorm. The flames burn the sky. The wind and cold wave. The spear dragon unsheathed. Of course, the 4 of them are not simple-minded people. Seeing that Lan Yin killed the titan great ape known for its defense in one instant. The hearts of the 4 also thumped. But now they can't back down. Behind them is the Soul Seal Palace. If they retreat this time, the Palace Master will definitely not give them a good look. Just between a few glances, the 4 of them understood each other's mind. Exerting soul skills, the strongest attacks come one after another. Phoenix fighting spirit, gun fighting spirit, thunder soul, dead souls. 4 kinds of martial arts are released together, each with its own characteristics. Even among the peak soul kings, it can be called extremely terrifying. Snort. The blue and silver eyes shone coldly. Her body suddenly bloomed with bright blue light, like a bright star, gorgeous and dazzling. Her left hand clenched her fist, and flung it lightly towards the void. Boom. Just heard a burst of earth-shattering roar. In an instant, the 4 colors are different, and the soul skills containing 4 attributes are directly annihilated and broken. At the same time, a majestic aura swept across the audience, and the suffocating majesty enveloped everyone present. Everyone stared wide-eyed, watching everything that happened in front of them in disbelief. How is this possible? I'm not dazzled, am I? That's the soul skill of the 4 soul kings working together. Was it broken by her punch like this? After destroying the 4 soul abilities, Lan Yin's attack didn't stop either. With a few pop sounds, the 5 golden masters of the Soul Seal Hall turned into a puddle of meat. Hiss, shock, unparalleled shock, kill in one move. With no doubt, Lan Yin actually possessed this combat power. Heaven, He Wushwang gasped, his face twitching. Beside him, several other people made coughing sounds. Another student blushed, his eye sockets protruded, and he bulged like a goldfish. But Titans and Phoenix seeds. 0. Seeking flowers. Placed in the cosmic sea. Both races are also top-notch. Not to mention in such a small world. Although the 5 heroes have not yet grown up. But go all out. But 4 soul emperors and 1 soul saint are enough to be comparable to the existence of fighting souls. This side of the world is also a character who can dominate the world. He was instantly killed with 1 move, and he couldn't resist at all. Plants. He Wushwang turned his head away. Suzy smiled lightly. Is this the end? Too strong. She looks only 11 or 12 years old. 0. With such strength at the age of 11 or 12, doesn't that mean that she is already a title fighting spirit? Tisk tisk, 11 or 12-year-old title fighting spirit, how could such a monster appear here? The onlookers were shocked. With Lanyan as the center, a circle with a radius of 10 meters is vacated. It is too domineering. This time, Lanyan didn't say any more nonsense. Her footsteps moved forward and continued to walk forward. Her goal is the core of the Soul Seal Palace, which is also her mother's place. Her steps are steady and powerful, and every step she takes seems to be stepping on the heart of everyone. Rather than saying that she was punched in, it is better to say that she was invited in. The soul masters around were trembling. After seeing this girl's ability to blow up the golden generation with 1 punch, no one dared to provoke her. Except for 1 person. Blue silver front. A figure blocked his way. The person who came was dressed in a black robe, with a handsome face and a feminine demeanor, blocking Lan Yin's eyes. Looking at the 5 pools of flesh and blood turned into behind the woman. The feminine man raised his eyebrows. Little girl, why are you here? The Pope asked. No one saw the greedy soil hidden deep in his eyes. Report. 57%. Chapter 30. Are you worthy of the Pope's horror? The Pope was horrified. 11 or 12 years old, at least the strength of title fighting spirit. The golden generation that the Soul Seal Hall has devoted all its efforts to cultivate has no ability to resist in front of her. This talent, peerless, so genius, how could they let go of the Soul Seal Hall? When he came here, her fate was sealed. Either join the Soul Seal Hall. Or, 38. He stretched out his slender palm, wanting to touch Lan Yin's head. Little girl, since you have such talent, then join the Soul Seal Palace. But was easily dodged by Lan Yin. The Pope was not annoyed either. The corner of his mouth was still curled up. Lan Yin, did you know me before? The Lord of Soul Seal was stunned for a moment. After taking a closer look at the blue and silver, 557, he suddenly felt a little familiar. Thinking about it slightly, the figure of a woman appeared in her mind. The Pope only remembered that woman's surname was Lan, but he didn't know her specific name. See this, Lan Yin gave a light drink. Come to your wife. Hearing this, the palace master seemed to understand something. Obviously, there is a reason why the girl came here today. And this girl is probably his daughter. Unexpectedly, Lan Yin was just a plant-type soul master with such a monstrous talent. If so, it's even more impossible to let her go. So he was silent for a moment, then winked at the guardian next to him. The protector nodded and left immediately. In a moment, surrounded by a group of powerful soul masters, a gorgeously dressed, graceful and luxurious woman came slowly. The woman is dressed in rich clothes, with a vermilion bird pattern embroidered on her chest. It's you. The woman recognized Lan Yin immediately. The mouth grows instantly, an expression of disbelief. Hee, didn't you think of that? Lan Yin chuckled lightly. A cruel look appeared on the woman's face, she said through gritted teeth. Lan Yin, I really didn't expect it to be you, a little bastard. You're still alive. Hearing this, Lan Yin's eyes suddenly shrank. The surrounding temperature has dropped by a few minutes, and the breath is wild. Little beast, I should have killed you earlier. Just like your mother. The woman's sharp voice resounded through the sky. Snapped. There was a crisp slap. The woman clutched her burning and painful left cheek, her eyes filled with disbelief. You, how dare you hit me? HMPH. Lan Yin gently shook her hand. Slap your mouth. The woman roared. Lan Yin. You little guy, it's just a botanical soul fighting spirit. What's so crazy about it? When I heard the words plant department, the eyebrows of the master of the soul seal trembled imperceptibly. With the woman's palm, the fire and phoenix start a prairie fire behind her, and the phantom of the fire and phoenix solidifies. It was like a divine bird descending from the 9 heavens to punish it. The power of one move is to directly kill the killer in front of the blue eyes. The people around gasped. Feeling the hot temperature in the air, even though they knew the target was not him, the people around him dodged one after another. Lanyon looked at that blow indifferently. The flames formed a huge fire net in the air, pressing down on Lanyon. Careful, some people in the test crowd couldn't help but exclaimed. However, just when everyone felt that Lan Yinxiang was gone, a white glow flashed out. That fire net seems to have encountered a nemesis. The flames gradually dissipated. Only then can everyone see clearly. White light comes from a sword. A grass sword made of blue-silver grass. With the help of the root system, sections of blue-silver grass wind in midair. The sharpness of the blade of grass makes people tremble, and the moment the flame gets close to it, it will be annihilated by itself. Lanyon kicked the remaining fire net into pieces. How is it possible? It is obvious that her fighting spirit is the nemesis of the plant department. The woman is horrified. Now it was easily solved by a little girl. It's impossible. The woman lost her mind and muttered to herself. But Lanyon couldn't hold back anymore. You'd better go die. This sentence, she has said too. After the words fell, Lanyon made a move, slashing at the woman with a sword. Stop. In the nick of time. The palace master who had been watching from the side finally moved. Bang! The master of the soul seal made a move, and a terrifying energy poured down, knocking them back instantly. Husband. Seeing this scene, the woman burst into tears immediately. Husband, you can decide for me. The woman lay on the ground, crying loudly. Shut up. The hall master gave a cold drink this time. The stern aura exudes. The woman behind her immediately stopped talking. She knew that such an aura meant that the person in front of her was very angry. Solve the crying wife. The master of the soul seal turned his head again, looking at Lanyon with a much softer gaze. Lanyon, after all, she is my wife, also your mother. Where is there a child who wants to kill his mother? Hearing this, Lanyon sneered. Go away, hand over my mother, otherwise, I will rejoice in the soul seal palace. The hall master took a deep look at Lanyon, his eyes filled with rich complexity and deep joy. The complication is that if he had known earlier that his talent was so terrifying, how could he let her mother take her away? The surprise is because of her terrifying strength. Only the absolute 3.9 pair has the resources to fight the ultimate soul. In the era of massive invasion by demons, if there is an extra limit fighting spirit in the Soul Seal Hall, it will undoubtedly be a great joy. So anyway, Blue Silver, you must stay in the Soul Seal Hall. But now it is necessary to eliminate her hatred for Soul Seal Hall. Say, where is her mother? The Pope spoke humanely to the woman next to him, his tone watery. Compared to a future ultimate soul fighter, she's just a woman. Husband, the woman wanted to speak, but was stared at by the Pope's colder eyes. Okay, I'll take you there. The woman stood up slowly, looking a little embarrassed. Let's go. The Pope looked at Lanyon, who nodded. When the mother is rescued, she will settle the account with the Soul Seal Palace. Report. 57%. Chapter 31. Overturning the Hall of Soul Seals, frightening the Pope. In the island. In a dark and forced basement. A woman with ragged clothes and a haggard face curled up in a corner, trembling. The woman's eyes are empty. His face and body were already covered with dense wounds, which was shocking. The sun was pouring down on her dirty face, and a pale and frosty cheek could be seen. Anne, be good, Mom is here. Anne, you are the most obedient, don't cry, don't cry. The corner of the woman's mouth whispered softly, but her voice was weak. This woman is not dead yet, she can hold on. Outside the basement, a jailer heard a woman's voice and said with emotion. Yes, after 2 years of torture, even the man died, but she is still alive. Another jailer next to him shook his head with emotion. He admired this woman a little bit. It's a pity that she offended the Pope's wife. Even if she can hold on, she won't have the chance to go out. It's better to die sooner. According to her situation, even if she can hold on, she won't be able to hold on for a few days. The two were talking, and the sound of 08 wandered in the dark and low prison. Da da da. And at this time, there was a series of footsteps outside the door. Listening to the footsteps getting clearer and clearer, the woman led a crowd to the dungeon. She was very disturbed. Because she knew how she treated Lanyon and her mother. If she is seen by him, the latter is likely to kill her to vent her anger. But now she has nothing to do. But she and the Pope are husband and wife after all, and she believes that the Pope will protect her. Lanyon didn't know why. The more she walked towards the prison, the more depressed she felt. As if something was pressing on her body. It made her so sad that she could hardly breathe. Open the door. When everyone came to the prison, the woman said to the two jailers. Yes. The two jailers trembled when they saw the person coming, and hurriedly took out the key to open the prison. The moment the door is opened, Lanyon had already passed the crowd and walked in. The woman took 2 steps back silently. Anne, you have to open your mouth and eat obediently so that you can grow up healthy. A murmur as weak as silk came to King Blue Tremella. Lan Yin was stunned for a moment, his vision was blurred for an instant, and he quickly came to the woman and hugged her in his arms. Mother. Lan Yin caressed her mother's gray hair covering her cheeks, listening to her mother's unconscious voice, tears the size of pea grains could not stop falling down. Yinyi. It seemed that upon hearing Lan Yin's voice, the woman gradually became conscious. It's good that it's still there, good. The breath that was just raised is quickly dissipating. Lan Yin felt the aura in her mother's body was gradually disappearing. No, mother, hold on, you can be saved in the Beidou forest, and I will take you to the Beidou forest. Lan Yin was a little panicked, picked up her mother, got up and wanted to go outside. She doesn't think about anything else now. In the Beidou forest, there is a spiritual plant that miraculously recovers from all injuries. You can definitely save your mother. Anne, we have a healing soul master with the title of Fighting Soul in the Soul Seal Hall, who can definitely save your mother. The Pope stopped in front of Lan Yin, softly comforting him. In fact, he has seen. Lan Yin was already close to running out of fuel, and it was already a miracle that he could persist until now. Now I hear Blue Silver's voice. The last breath of heart that held her has disappeared. Even the title Fighting Soul of the Auxiliary Healing Department can't save him. But also therefore, it was even more impossible for him to let Lan Yin leave. Roll, cold blue and silver eyes. Hey, I am your father, and I am responsible for you. The Pope shook his head, unwilling to back down. Die. The soul ring appeared behind Lan Yin. 1 yellow, 2 purple, 3 black, and 3 red. Plop. The incomparably alluring soul ring configuration, as well as the terrifying coercion it brought, directly killed everyone except the Pope. Overwhelmed. 3 blacks, 3 reds, 12-year-old title fighting spirits. The Pope looked at Lan Yin's soul ring, and couldn't help but gasped. Monster. Monstrosity. The Pope couldn't help exclaiming. His eyes looking at Lan Yin were full of blaze. Join the Soul Seal Hall. I will give you the supreme status. 20 years later, let you become the Pope. How about taking charge of Wei Yinduan? The Pope directly took out the succession rights of the next generation of Soul Seal Palace and handed it over to Lan Yin. Puff, puff, puff. Lan Yin didn't speak. Several vines burst out from the solid ground, piercing through the rest of the people in an instant. 420 blood spilled. Step aside. Pope shook his head. Impossible to get out of the way. Even if she is already level 95, so what, he is level 96. After reaching the title fighting spirit level, the gap between each level is very huge. What's more, between level 95 and level 96, he can easily suppress the opponent. Kill. Lan Yin didn't want to talk nonsense. The bright red soul ring flashed. A dark green spear appeared and stabbed directly at the Pope. That can only suppress you. The Pope saw this, and the sleeping ring emerged. 1 yellow, 3 purple, 4 black, 1 red. The 9 soul rings flicker. As he spoke, he wanted to stretch out a palm to block the dark green spear. Bah! Boom! The two collide. The dungeon is overturned. The sun shines. Fang Yuan was hundreds of meters away and was directly destroyed. Ah! The Pope screamed, and one of his arms was caught in the roommate. Impossible. The Pope endured the pain and looked at Lan Yin. Obviously 1 level difference, but Lan Yin easily bridled him. Report. 58%. Chapter 32. Blocking, Limit du Luo. How is it possible? Isn't she a plant-type soul master? How could there be such amazing damage? The Pope was filled with fear. The face also twisted up. Die. Lan Yin's eyes revealed a cold and ruthless look. With a shake of the spear in his hand, Ridao's more condensed green light shot out. This time, there was a special aura in the green glow, and the surrounding vines also moved accordingly, as if they were absorbing the energy of the surrounding world. At this moment, the surroundings seemed to become much heavier. The space is also compressed, as if it is about to collapse. Wherever the green light went, the air was squeezed into pieces. The Pope's eyes widened suddenly, and he felt as if he was about to be torn apart by the green light. Damn it! The Pope roared, and the red soul ring shone brightly. If you don't try your best, you may really die. A layer of blood-colored light film appeared on his body, resisting the offensive of the green light. A muffled sound of boom spread throughout the dungeon. The green glow spread out and disappeared into the void, but the Pope also flew out backwards. He hit the wall hard and fell to the ground. Spit blood. Cough cough. Ahem. The man stood unsteadily, looking at the woman with sharp eyes opposite him, a chill shot straight from the soles of his feet to the sky. Is this really the plant department? The Pope murmured, bloodstains slowly leaving on his face. He only felt that he had already regretted it. If he had known such a monster, No matter how much he had to pay, he would never be willing to be an enemy of the person in front of him. Invincible. Looking at Lan Yin, who was walking slowly, the Pope subconsciously shrank back a little. Wait, Lan Yin, wait, I am your father, you can't kill me. The man's voice trembled, and he no longer had that aloof look. But Lan Yin just skipped him, and directly hugged the mother beside him. Mother, I will definitely save you. You must not abandon me. Feeling the rapidly disappearing life of the child in my arms. Tears rolled down Lan Yin's cheeks, she hugged the woman tightly. He didn't even bother to take another look at the Pope, he turned around and was about to fly out of the Soul Seal Hall. But as soon as they left the door, a group of figures stopped them. How can it be impossible to attract the attention of others with such a huge aftermath? The Soul Masters coming from all around stared at the two of them unkindly. Presumptuous, how dare you make trouble in the temple, take it down for me. The first to speak were two titled fighting souls, who were responsible for guarding the temple. Seeing many masters coming, the Pope has a lot of confidence. Lan Yin, I'll give you another chance. Don't be obsessed with it. The noisy voices in his ears were fierce. Lan Yin hugged his mother, his eyes were cold, and he looked at the approaching human beings, his whole body exuded a strong murderous intent, and he looked like he wanted to eat someone. The hearts of all the people present couldn't help beating wildly, and they approached the two step by step. To the former, die. Lan Yin's voice was low and hoarse, but the endless murderous intent it contained made everyone's soul tremble. Several priests who came forward looked at each other in blank dismay, not even daring to move forward. A bunch of cowards. Are you still afraid of a child? Seeing this, the title fighting spirits in the sky cursed angrily, and directly attacked towards Lan Yin. This titled Duluo is a strong man with 9 rings. With a punch, his red soul ring shone brightly, and a huge fist roared out, with billowing power. The adults who saw them all made moves, and the spirit fighting masters below did not dare to neglect. They made moves one after another, towards the blue-silver doctor. Roll. I feel my mother's breath getting weaker and weaker. At this moment, Lan Yin's eyes turned red and completely exploded. Ah! A monstrous aura swept all directions. Lan Yin's figure flickered. Go straight to the sky. Right hand wave. The green spear in hand is shining brightly. PFF'd. The spear pierced straight, and a big head was pierced directly. The titled Duluo fell straight, his eyes wide open. Do not rest in peace. Everything happens between calcium carbide sparks. So fast that everyone couldn't react in time. What? The other spirit fighters were shocked when they saw this. Before they could react from the scene just now. As if feeling Lan Yin's anger. The vines rushing out from the ground were more entangled together, like pythons, frantically devouring these strong fighters. Ah, don't come here. There was a strong soul sage whose liver and gallbladder were torn apart, and found that all his attacks were completely ineffective, and was blasted. There was also a strong man with 8 soul rings who showed his real body, and the huge bear bit the vines, but in the end it only ended up being divided into corpses by several vines. Click, click, the blood kept flowing. Although the soul masters in the Soul Seal Hall are much stronger than ordinary soul masters, under the green vines, they have no effect at all, and they have become part of the nourishment. No matter who it is, as long as they get close to Lan Yin, they will be directly blasted by the vines, and they will die without a whole body. In just an instant, nothing but minced meat and blood were left on the field. The remaining living creatures only left the Pope and Lan Yin. The Pope stared blankly at this scene, letting blood and minced meat drench his face. He never expected that this girl who looked like she was only in her teens would show such formidable strength. Hundreds of years of accumulation in the Hall of Soul Seals was slaughtered by a girl. At this moment, he had already lost the courage to face off, and just wanted to run away. However, Lan Yin noticed his movements. This time, no mercy. The vines swept towards the Pope like a whip. Ah ah ah. There was a scream, and half of the Pope's body was instantly reduced to meat sauce. Seeing himself about to die at the hands of the vines. A beam of light descends abruptly. Directly shoot at blue silver. It was a golden beam of light. Where the beam of light passed, all the surrounding plants withered and disappeared, turning into powder and floating in the air. The golden beam of light accurately bombarded Lan Yin's body. Immediately blasted her back a few meters into the air, and spent a little bit of time. The beam of light converged, revealing an old man in white clothes and a golden mask. He glanced at Lan Yin indifferently, then raised his head and looked at the Pope in the distance. What a mess. Hearing the sound, the Pope suddenly came back to his senses, ecstasy flashed in his eyes, and with the remaining half of his body supported by the severe pain, he hurriedly knelt down at the old man's feet. Congratulations, Your Majesty. Seeing the old man for the first time, Lan Yin's eyes became wary for the first time. Come on, strong. Level 99 Ultimate Duoluo. This is definitely not an existence she can contend with now. Li Dahao, but Lan Yin didn't regret her actions. Even if she risked her life today, she still wanted to protect her mother's safety. I'll give you one last chance. The old man's words were calm and with a trace of irreversible determination. Hee hee. The corner of Lan Yin's mouth drew a trace of sarcasm. Young man. The old man seemed to sigh helplessly. The two forces suddenly collided. Boom. Before the Pope can figure out what's going on, the dilapidated buildings around were thrown high into the sky. Blue-Silver Emperor, Vientiane Sen Luo. In an instant, the foundation of the entire Soul Seal Hall seemed to be loosened by vines. Countless blue-silver grass merged together, drilled out from the ground, turned into countless towering vines, and smashed heavily towards the Soul Seal Hall. The Soul Seal Hall collapsed in an instant, turning into ashes, and even the ruins no longer existed. Many strong soul masters were also strangled to death in an instant, leaving no bones left. And Lan Yin took advantage of the impact of the destruction, flew towards the sky, took her mother with her, and disappeared in a blink of an eye. Report. 58%. Chapter 33. Bounty, Death, Revenge. Injustice. Why didn't you stop them? The Pope came to the old man with a limp and was very puzzled. As far as he knew, with Mian Sha's ability, he only needed to make a move. No matter how powerful Lan Yin was, he would definitely fall. HMPH. The old man's tone was cold. It's easy to say. The Pope immediately lowered his head, not daring to say another word. I can feel that there is a faint sense of threat in that child. The old man's voice became more and more serious. Looking at the direction of Lan Yin's departure, he couldn't let go of it for a long time. For a moment, he turned around. You guys have done a lot of good things. Such a talented and intelligent seedling was forced into a desperate situation by you. The Pope immediately knelt down on the ground and tremblingly said, Your doctor, forgive me. Please forgive me this time. The old man did not speak. That's all. After a long time, the old man shook his head. It has already happened, and it cannot be undone. Pass my order. Everyone hunts down Lan Yin at any cost. In addition, inform the world that Lan Yin is the public enemy of our Soul Master world. Everyone will be punished if they catch Lan Yin, and there will be no reward for anyone who catches Lan Yin. Violence flashed in the old man's eyes. Never let this child grow up. Follow your Majesty's orders. The Pope prostrated himself on the ground. As far as you are concerned. The old man looked at him. You are also inseparable from this matter. I know. The Pope smiled bitterly. I am willing to bear the punishment. Please give me the punishment. The old man nodded slightly. Heal your injuries first, and leave the rest to me. The Pope bowed. Thank you. The other side. Lan Yin flew with all his strength. Mother's breath became weaker and weaker. Must be treated as soon as possible. I have tried my best to get rid of the pursuers. Hurry up. The Beidou forest is just ahead. The sound of the wind was left behind by her. The strange scenery of Luli was reflected in Lan Yin's eyes, and the surrounding plants avoided one after another. Great. The front is the core area. Like a hurricane running into the forest. Seeing the Bingwo Yinisao so close at hand, for the first time there was a smile on Lan Yin's face. For 6 years, she almost ran all over the forest. In the core area, there are many geniuses and treasures. As long as you take care of yourself a little, you will be able to restore your mother to health. Mother. Lan Yin lowered her head joyfully, wanting to tell the good news to her mother in her arms. But what she saw was that her mother closed her eyes, with a flat smile on the corner of her mouth, and her body was lying in her arms as stiff as a puppet. Lan Yin's pupils shrank suddenly. Mother. Lan Yin hugged her mother's body tightly. Tears couldn't stop flowing down. No, I cannot. Lan Yin frantically picked off the ice and fire yinyi grass, combined with the 100 years spirit spring, and put it into her mother's mouth. But even if it is such a magical medicine, it is still useless. This time, is it too late? Lan Yin cried. Tears slid down her delicate and beautiful face, and the warm liquid wet the back of her hand. Obviously rescued the mother. 6 years of grievances, Lu Ji's longing almost crushed her. But whenever she thinks of her mother, Lan Yin will grit her teeth and endure it. But at the moment of reunion, her mother left her forever. All because of the persecution and obstruction of the Soul Seal Hall. If it wasn't for the delay when leaving, maybe my mother would have been saved long ago, smiling and listening to what I had gained over the years. If the Soul Seal Hall did not persecute her mother, Lan Yin believed that she would be able to wake her up. If there is no Soul Seal Palace. Unfortunately, there is no if. His own mother died because of the Soul Seal Hall. Soul Seal Hall. A shrill female voice echoed over Beidou Forest for a long time. Long tears of blood dripped from the girl's beautiful face. On Lan Yin's body, there were still scars from the old man's sneak attack before, bleeding profusely. It's just that this bit of pain is no longer important to Lan Yin. Although the body hurts, the heart hurts even more. In the pupils that were originally as clear as blue water, a black air gradually emerged. I want to kill. Word by word from the girl's mouth. Lan Yin's words were full of violence and killing intent. Bad. Kill. Kill everyone who bullies you. Kill. Kill everyone who hurt your mother. Kill. She wants to make the whole world pay for it. The frantic aura suddenly erupted. This time it was no longer the calm and gentle soul power of the blue-silver emperor, but full of creepy tyranny. Boom. Turned into dark black vines, they raged in the Beidou forest. Wherever he went, trees, flowers, grass, rocks and soil were all destroyed. Lan Yin seemed to have gone crazy, venting the anger in her heart. In the Beidou forest, no matter what kind of spirit beasts were under her attack, they were not spared. No matter what type it is, even high-level soul beasts have no power to resist in front of her. In just a few minutes throughout the forest, thick smoke billowed, but did not diffuse. Children, wake up. When Lan Yin was extremely angry and became obsessed. A call that shocked the sky resounded through the sky. Lan Yin raised her head, and a powerful ancient tree stood in the void. The crown of the tree blocked the sunlight. It is like a sky pillar, supporting a large shadow. Get out of the way. If it was awake, Lan Yin would definitely recognize that this is an ancient tree in the core area. No one knows how long it has existed, but Lan Yin knows that even those 100,000-year spirit beasts standing at the top are respectful to the ancient tree. But at the moment, she doesn't care about these things. Anyone in the way is the enemy. His eyes were red, and the blue-silver emperor formed a monstrous axe behind Lan Yin, and slashed straight at the ancient wood. The ancient tree seemed to sigh. The axe that Lan Yin slashed down instantly dissipated. Immediately, she felt herself stuck in a quagmire, unable to move. The ancient tree waved its branches lightly. Lan Yin's delicate body seemed to be out of control, moving towards the ancient tree. Let me go. Before Lan Yin finished speaking, gentle soul power rises from the ancient tree, instantly dispelled the black air lingering around Lan Yin. The originally cloudy pupils also became ethereal here. What's wrong? Lan Yin shook her head that was throbbing with headache. Blue and silver eyes pierced the canopy. Ji Yu Mu looked like an old man in green clothes standing on the top of the giant tree, condescending, looking down at her. Little guy, are you angry? The words were imprinted directly in her mind. But, you can't change the status quo at all, can you? Ji Yu Mu's voice was full of pity. Your mother is already dead, so what's the use of killing innocent people? Lan Yin bit her lip and didn't answer, but the scarlet in her eyes became deeper and deeper. It's too weak. I want revenge. Looking at the ancient trees. The girl is slow and firm. When I come out again, Mihun Yindian. The girl bit her lip, and fine blood flowed out. Ji Yu Mu let out a long sigh, but didn't say much. When the girl in front of me is born with a 97-level title fighting spirit, what will happen to the world? Report 1. 58%. Chapter 34. Forbidden Mountain, Nolan Ying comes to challenge. On the southern continent. It was different from the ups and downs caused by Lan Yin in the east continent. On another continent, many powerhouses from the southern continent, including those from the Medicine King sect and the Yunggong sect, are all preparing to watch the duel in the Forbidden Mountain. This is the battle between the two southern continents. After all, this competition is related to the status of the two giants on the South Road, and it also determines the honor of who will be the number one person on the South Road in the future. Whoever wins will be able to master the discourse of the entire southern continent. On the Forbidden Mountain, gongs and drums are noisy, and colorful flags are fluttering. Countless strong men gathered here. Some powers that are usually hard to see, even the legendary title fighters rushed here one after another, just to have a glimpse of the grandeur of the current world war. Around the arena, all the big forces are already full. Among them, the most eye-catching ones are those forces sitting in the front row. Among them, the two major forces of Yao Wangzong and Yunlanzong occupied the most comfortable positions without accident. And in front of the stage of the two giant forces, there are two figures with extraordinary bearing. Yao Wangzong, Xiao Yan, the Titan's giant elephant martial soul. Yunlanzong, the red-haired woman with the vermilion bird spirit. Just standing in front of the stage, the two had already caused waves of commotion below. What a beautiful woman. Beautiful and strong, if you can marry such a person. The one in front, what is the spring and autumn dream? The crowd was yelling, and all kinds of voices were intertwined. At the entrance of the Misty Cloud sect, a red-haired woman appeared, and behind her was the phantom of Vermilion Bird, leaving only a field of red flames wherever she passed. At the Yunggong sect's attendance, all the strong men discussed and looked at the girl with satisfaction. I don't know which of the two sects has the highest winning percentage in this year's competition. There are also good people who see women like this, and can't help asking. HMPH. That must be our Yunggong sect. A disciple of Misty Cloud sect proudly puffed out his chest. That's not necessarily true. Someone from the Medicine King sect retorted, after all, the representative of our Medicine King sect this time is a monster that you will never see in 1,000 years. The words of the Yaowangzong disciples drew everyone's attention to Xiao Yan. The child back then had already had a sharp-edged face, with sharp brows, and a deep and reserved sharpness. At the first glance, many female audience members screamed. Senior brother Xiao, do you have a girl you like? Handsome, do you still need to engrave the bed floor? Not to mention women, even those geniuses who have already been called the favored sons of heaven. Under the halo of the two, it also seemed bleak. They sighed to themselves. This is a couple made in heaven. Since you gave birth to me, why did you give birth to Xiao? In the same era as them, listening to the voices of everyone in the audience. Although Xiao Yan's expression remained calm, but there was already a storm in his heart. This is my talent, shook his fist, intending to show himself. A spirit ring appeared in front of Xiao Yan. 1 yellow, 3 purple, 3 black. 7 rings soul sage. Suddenly, the audience was in an uproar. What? Xiao Yan is only 12 years old, yet he has broken through to soul sage. How is this possible? The 12-year-old 7-ring soul sage, even in the northern continent, is definitely a celestial figure, a rare genius who is rarely seen in 100 years. Monster. Some people couldn't help exclaiming. 7-ring soul sage, in the entire soul fighting continent, also belongs to the first-class Tianzhao figure. Not to mention, Xiao Yan is only 12 years old. His future is unlimited. The strong men of the Medicine King sect all showed confident smiles on their faces. Medicine King sect. Seeing the other party's behavior, the strong Yunggong sect sneered and said, it's nothing more than the Xiao Yan of the Titan Wuhan. Our Yunlanzong is the genius of the vermilion bird Wuhan this time. And the foundation of her self-confidence is the soul ring displayed by the girl. 1 yellow, 2 purple, 4 black. It is also the existence of the 7 rings Do Sheng. Above the soul ring, even better. The competition between the strongest spear and the strongest shield. A strong man stroked his beard and laughed. I really can't wait, so let's wait and see. 0 for flowers. It's not just the two sects who are fighting each other. The lords of the sky also argued fiercely. The two leaders are Xiao Nan and Feng Zixuan. The one named Xiao Yan is indeed very talented, but his spirit ring is of poor quality. So what? Xiao Nan said indifferently. Xiao Yan saw that his talent was also his seed, so Xiao Nan was naturally confident about it. So what? The human spirit I chose is the pinnacle vermilion bird spirit, and the quality of the spirit ring is even higher than Xiaoyan. Feng Zixuan said disdainfully. This girl is really extraordinary. Looking outside the sky, seeing the girl's aptitude, Xiaonan couldn't help but sigh. But you should understand that the Titans are one of the top races in the universe. In this lower realm, they are also kings. 0. Feng Zixuan asked, Titans are the strongest, but don't forget. In this universe, apart from the Titans, there are other races. The Dragon and Phoenix clans are all top-notch races. Vermilion Bird is also a black bird. The main fire is extremely fierce. I only know that the Titans are the greatest race under this starry sky. Xiao Nan's tone was still calm. The Vermilion Bird family is the strongest. Feng Zixuan said proudly. Then let's take a good look at it. Xiao Nandao. I'm sure he'll disappoint me. Neither lord spoke anymore. Everyone's attention was on the stage. Geniuses from both sides are invited to fight. In the arena, with the sound of gongs and drums, the sky is shaking. Xiao Yan and the woman with fiery red hair walked out of their respective sects. On the stage, facing each other from a distance. This Xiao Yan is really not simple. I don't know what kind of brilliant and dazzling fireworks will erupt when the two geniuses collide. The shouts from the audience kept coming. You two, are you ready? The elder who presided over the game also became excited, his voice was passionate, and he couldn't wait to see this century war. Then go. But before the elder's hand waved, a voice came from afar. Nalanying, come and challenge the billion. Report. 58%. Chapter 35. 3 purples, 3 blacks, 3 reds. I want to challenge, both of them. Accompanied by the sound of this voice, a beautiful figure leapt into the air and landed steadily on the ring. The white clothes dance lightly, the long sleeves are elegant and refined. The skin is like fat, and the eyes are like lacquer. The face of the person in the clothes is like a peach blossom, delicate and charming. Standing on the field chosen for the two Tianzhao, Nalan Ying seemed out of place. Who is this woman? The people who came to see the excitement looked at each other, not knowing where the alluring beauty came out again. The appearance is peerless and charming, and the temperament is extraordinary and refined. Such a beautiful woman, I am afraid that she is a saint child of a certain sect. Someone made a bold analysis, and his eyes were filled with light. If you are a member of the sect, how can there be no news? Could it be the apprentice of a certain 3, 4, 7 hidden old monster? It was also a bold guess. Countless people discussed and cast amazed eyes on Nalan Ying, but Nalan Ying looked ahead indifferently, as if she didn't hear the conversation of the people around her. The crowd was discussing a lot, and many young people who were fascinated by the hair woman before immediately changed their camps and followed Nalanlu's steps with the same eyesight. Looking at Nalan Ying, who was slowly walking towards the center of the ring. The expressions of the two parties were very different. The vermilion bird girl's eyes shrank. Seeing such a wonderful person, she couldn't help being amazed in her heart. Xiao Yan's slightly squinted eyes suddenly opened, with a scorching light shining in the pupils. The figure in front of him was vaguely familiar to him, but it was like the moon in the mirror, and he couldn't salvage it. He really didn't expect that the little girl who was just a maidservant back then would turn out to be such an overpowering and beautiful person. Just looking at Nalan Ying's almost perfect body. A mouthful of saliva trickled down Xiao Yan's Adam's apple. This woman, he is bound to win. And on the high platform. A mother is more expensive than a child, and Mother Xiao, who was invited to the high stage by the Yao Wangzong, also noticed the beautiful figure standing in the middle of the ring. Her brows were furrowed. How could it be her? She murmured. Who is she? Although the voice was low, it couldn't be hidden from those Tongtian people on the high platform. A man sitting next to him asked suspiciously. A trash who was divorced back then. Mother Xiao's eyes darkened. At the beginning, she was just a waste of plants, and my Yunur is already the soul of a titan. If Yunur wants to marry her, it's like a toad eating swan meat. But who knew, she would come here to make trouble. She took a deep breath, and after a while, there was a hint of a meaningful smile on the corner of her mouth. But that's fine. My son already has a titan spirit, and he is already a 7-ring soul sage at a young age. It is also one of the southern continent's top talents. And she's just a trash who doesn't have any blood, and even her spirit is a plant. So what if you become a soul master? If this woman is Yunur's concubine, it's too late. While Mother Xiao was calculating. On the platform. Earlier, the elders of two sects spoke. Where did the little doll come from? Leave quickly. The Tianzhao competition, is it possible for people like you to participate? It's not easy to cultivate to such an extent at such a young age, but the Battle of Tianzhao, the end is not something you can participate in. The other strong men also laughed out loud. Someone yelled. Let's go home and find a big brother. Seeing disdainful voices around. Nalan Ying was unmoved. She smiled lightly at the corner of her mouth, and took away the souls of many people. The soul ring blooms. 3 purples, 3 blacks, 3 reds. In an instant, all the laughter stopped abruptly, like a duck being pinched by its neck. The strong man who had ridiculed before had a bluish face and protruding eyes, looking at the scene in front of him in disbelief. Under the stage, there was silence. After half a day, like the flood that opened the dam. The fierce voice almost overturned the forbidden mountain. Is this true? Someone rubbed their eyes desperately. Some people dislocated their jaws just to yell, impossible. Even Tianzhao cried bitterly, never to be invincible again. Life is full of vicissitudes, so it is. 12-year-old titled Soul Fighting, looking at the entire history of soul fighting continent. Never before. On the ring, the vermilion bird girl also widened her beautiful eyes, bit her teeth lightly. How could there be such a young titled fighting spirit? Xiao Yan even cried out in shock, no longer had the indifferent demeanor before. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Xiao's mother on the high platform noticed the questioning gaze from the man next to her, and she stood up suddenly, her eyes full of astonishment. Plant, how is it possible? Just as everyone's shock is not over yet. On stage, Nalan Ying already has a new move. Ring. Nalan Ying pointed at the two with a single finger on her left arm. You two go up together. Pointing to the 2 people in the center of the ring. Nalan Ying said lightly, you wanna die. The red-haired vermilion bird Tianzhao has the hottest temper. Because of Nalan Ying's appearance, all the attention that surrounded me was taken away by this woman who is more beautiful than myself. How can I stand such a provocation right now? Furious, with a sway of his body, he rushed towards Nalan Ying. She was red like a fire, surrounded by scorching 5.5 flames, like a queen of flames. Boom. The void trembled violently. Her speed was extremely fast, and she reached Nalan Ying in the blink of an eye. The red flames flickered, clearly wanting to kill him. Xiao Yan was not to be outdone. He is full of golden lights, like a titan descending. The arena that was supposed to carry the power of the soul sage was trampled into a big hole by him. The fist wind is rolling, and the coercion covers the sky. As expected of a genius with a vermilion bird spirit and a titan spirit. Feeling the power of the two great arrogances, surprised expressions appeared on everyone's faces, and they all praised. Mother Xiao showed a confident smile. Even if it is a title fighting spirit, Nolan Ying is a plant-type spirit after all. And his own son is the strongest. Report, 59%. Chapter 36. Killing, the power of plants. On the ring stage, facing the attacks of the two great talents, Nolan Ying lightly raised her slender, snowy and tender arms. Spread your fingers. Pea cannon. Green plants rose from behind in an instant. The dark muzzle of the pea cannon was aimed at the two Tianjiao who were oncoming. A bright arc flashes from the pitch-black muzzle. Boom, boom, boom. Every pea contains unparalleled power, enough to smash mountains. Two pea cannons fired at the same time. See the shot pea. The two great arrogances were stunned for a moment. Then show disdain. A mere plant trying to hurt us. The vermilion bird woman held her head high, and the flames in her hands were like knives, about to split the plants. Xiao Yan was even more fearless. He laughed loudly. The Titan martial soul endowed him with a defense that is not afraid of attacks. Yi Ran didn't hide. Xiao Yan rushed straight to P. Just the next moment. Even after a distance of hundreds of meters, the sound of the explosion made everyone's eardrums hurt. Soul masters below Soul Sage covered their ears one after another to avoid this terrifying impact. The violent force swept away. The whole square was shaking. Then, the sky is full of dust. Only a solitary graceful figure in the middle of the ring was left. Nolan Ying stood safely in the center of the ring, unscathed. At the other end, the figures of the two Tianjiao disappeared. When looking again, on the mountain ridge thousands of meters away from the Forbidden Mountain, there are already two large human-shaped caves. The audience was in an uproar. My God, I actually lost. I can't catch a single move. The two Tianjiao are dead. Are they dead? The Titan martial soul, which is famous for defense, can't stop the power of a single shot. How terrifying. The audience was overwhelmed with horror. The original excitement and anticipation suddenly turned into deep fear. No one thought that what was originally just a competition between the two celestial beings competing for the top spot would end like this. On the ring, Nolan Ying glanced around. The audience is silent. On stage, the powerhouses of Yao Wangzong and Yunlanzong stood up suddenly as if they had been scalded to their buttocks. Everyone had incredible looks on their faces. That's arrogance. Zongmin's future hope. The Tianjiao who became a soul sage at the age of 12. If I'm not mistaken, then, that girl just made his plant fire. There is a strong man in the Medicine King Zong trembling, his teeth chattering. Should be. The old man beside him swallowed his saliva and said with difficulty. That's vermilion bird's beast soul and titan soul. Can plants kill people? It's like a curse that lingers in everyone's minds. The most legendary vermilion bird martial soul that specializes in attacking, proficient in flames, and restraining plants. And the Titan martial spirit, which is famous for defense, can't stop the power of a single shot. How terrifying. Everyone present was terrified. Is this true? Everyone was shocked. They looked at the graceful figure. Awe and fear surged in his heart. The appearance of Nolan Ying completely changed the situation. On the ring, Nolan glanced around. To defeat you, why does it take 30 years? The audience is silent. The girl's voice came through clearly. Son, would you like to join? Suddenly, a voice of Hong Zhang Dalu pierced the sky. After defeating our Tianjiao, making a big fuss in the venue, and wanting to leave like this, it's too disrespectful to us. The two figures came through synesthesia. Medicine King Sect, Grand Elder of Yunlin Sect. Level 95 Title Fighting Soul. The two sects finally moved. The strong men of Yao Wangzong and Yunlanzong volleyed down. Surrounding Nolan Ying is like arching a treasure. Must stay today. Son, if you are willing to stay, I will give you all the rare medicines of my Medicine King Sect. Guaranteed to wish you the ultimate fighting spirit. Don't listen to his child. Come to our Misty Cloud Sect. Only here are the most suitable exercises for you to practice. Soul skills are the most important. The two supreme elders tried their best to seduce Nolan Ying. As for those two celestial beings, nobody cares anymore. After all, a strong man who may become an ultimate fighting spirit in the future is right in front of him. Who cares about other things? Feeling the loss of Mother Xiao, there was regret in her eyes, but at this moment, no one paid attention to her. Nolan Ying stared at these powerhouses indifferently. Feeling Tianming's fiery invitation, he was not afraid at all, and even showed a bit of a sarcastic smile. There is a sky beyond the sky. This group of so-called strong men will never know that what they rely on is not what they can imagine. But the chattering crowd blocked her way. The two cases seemed to have made up their minds today. Never let go of this 1,000-year-old seedling. I do not want. Refuse directly. Bold. A little girl's film is so rampant. This is an invitation from the Supreme Elder. There are two elders of Yao Wangzong with cold eyes. They came out hand in hand, soul skills. I want to teach Nolan Ying a good lesson. Burn. Flame burning heaven Ju. The two displayed their soul skills at the same time. I saw two groups of extremely blazing fires burning out, turning into fire dragons, roaring and rushing towards Nolan Ying. This is a 7th level soul skill of the fire attribute. No, it seems to be an 8th level fusion soul skill of the flame attribute. Everyone exclaimed. These two old guys are really cunning. On the surface, it is the 7th level soul skill of the fire attribute, burning fire. Secretly 8th order fusion soul skills. Fusion soul skills. Only those who share the same mind or have a deep bond can use it. The power is among the best among soul skills of the same level. This is to get rid of Nolan Ying in one fell swoop, and make up for it. Many people cursed shamelessly. Nolan Ying narrowed her beautiful eyes. Fire soul skills, very rare. Her mouth is smiling. I don't know, can my plants compete? She raises her bare hands lightly, slow down. Boom. The fire dragon exploded, and the flames radiated in all directions. A scorching hot breath permeated the air. Everyone's eyes widened, staring nervously at the field, trying to find the trace of Nolan Ying. I saw Nolan Ying still standing on the spot, with a slender body, black hair fluttering in the wind. The dress is fluttering, full of fairy spirit, just like an exiled fairy coming to the dust. It is admirable. It's so beautiful, even more beautiful than the fairies in the sky. Countless men showed fanatical gazes. And those women's eyes were red with jealousy, and they even bit their silver teeth. They can't wait to replace it. How can this be? The two Yao Wangzong elders were dumbfounded. Their strongest moves actually had no effect on that girl. Oh, it seems that you are at the end of your rope. Nolan Ying smiled and said. Her smile was bright, but in the eyes of the two masters, she was sinister. It's just right. You can also show off your strength, and save you trouble. When sleepiness comes, there will be a pillow for you. Nolan Ying no longer kept her hand. She raised her arm, only thinking about not far from the Forbidden Mountain. A mountain stands proudly. Kill. As her words fell, P appeared, and the void suddenly burst. In a blink, mountains and rocks cracked, thousands of dust billowed. Hiss. Everyone breathed in and their eyelids jumped. The hills in the distance disappeared. This is the soul skill of the plant martial soul, and it's too terrifying. What kind of plant spirit is this? How can it be so terrifying? Some Xiao family members were terrified and slumped on the ground, trembling all over, trembling. Embarrassment also flashed in Mother Xiao's eyes, followed by regret. I wronged her. She was pale, dazed, and full of remorse. What a once-in-a-thousand-year genius. The girl in front of him is a more monstrous existence than his son. I had no eyes at first. Break up their engagement. Even ruined the 10,000-year foundation of the Xiao family. Over. Everything is over. The Xiao family will be destroyed because of her stupidity. The other side. The masters who survived the first wave of plants looked at the mountain that was blasted to 660 with lingering fear, and only left bitterness in their hearts. Where is this plant department? There was a Yunlin sect titled Fighting Soul roaring in a low voice. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don't make enemies with plants anymore. There is the last consciousness before the title Fighting Soul passed out. Cooperate with the terrifying P cannon. This is truly invincible existence. Nolan Ying stood proudly, her gaze swept across the crowd. Do you want to continue? She spoke lightly, calmly. Experienced the power of a cannon just now. He weighed his own strength again. The remaining masters of the two major sects were all shuddering, showing deep fear and fear. Hey, seeing the reactions of the two sects, Nolan Ying sneered and finally solved these troublesome pests. In the southern continent, no one is an enemy. The figure of the girl left slowly. Everyone watched and no one dared to stop. And Xiao Yan finally flew back from the previous ruins. After learning Nolan Ying's identity, Xiao Yan's face was extremely ugly. I once had a powerful opportunity in front of me, but I didn't cherish it. Now, it is regrettable, and it is no longer possible. Now, I can only look at the Pian leaving figure, feeling dejected. Beyond the sky, the lords stared at Su Zi. Why, it's your plant again. Xiao Nan and Feng Zixuan spoke in unison. P cannon. As soon as the iconic muzzle was shown, all the lords already knew the ending. Although the two had accepted their defeat, they still couldn't restrain their emotions, and came angrily to question. In this regard, Suzy scratched his nose, smiled at the corner of his mouth, and did not speak. The two who were bored had no choice but to leave angrily. While walking, he complained that Suzy was cheating. Why can his plants grow so fast? So strong. The voices of the two became weaker and weaker, apparently walking away. Suzy's gaze turned again, and fixed on a place that caught his attention. The crack in the plane of demons in the northern continent. A change occurs. Report. 59%. Chapter 37. Lord. Host. In the core area of Beidou Great Forest. A figure is meditating by the lake. In this core area where soul beasts have been rampant for 10,000 years and where dangers abound. The meditating figure is not afraid at all, and the whole body is surrounded by dazzling stars, as bright as a small sun. Various plants circled and circled around the figure. The blue-silver grass that can be seen where the wind blows. It turned into pure energy and flowed into the woman's body, blooming with brilliant brilliance. Call. There was a burst of fresh air. Lanyan opened her eyes. It's been a week, and my strength has improved too fast. Lanyan felt his own soul power. Level 96. This speed of improvement is simply appalling. Whether it is the golden generation of the Eastern Continent Soul Seal Hall, or the genius who awakened the Titan Martial Soul and Vermilion Bird Martial Soul in the Southern Continent. With the blessing of countless treasures of heaven and earth, it is only a matter of time to come to the realm of Soul Sage in this grade. Still not enough. But Lanyan was not satisfied. Recalling the pressure that the old man brought to me. Lanyan's eyes that had been somewhat sluggish once again ignited flames. Soul Yindian kills his mother. Her revenge must be avenged. I want to be stronger. Lanyan clenched her fists. Just give me a little more time. The girl's pretty face lowered, covering the expression in the corners of her eyes. Give me a little more time. Mom, just take a few deep breaths. Try to adjust your emotions. As long as I break through level 97 in a few days, it will be the day when the Soul Seal Palace will be destroyed. The flames of vengeance shone in the girl's eyes. Barely calmed down his state of mind. Lanyan was looking for the previous feeling again. Become stronger. Become the only obsession in her heart. Just this time, the energy turned into midair is still fluttering. But Lanyan's eyes suddenly opened. Who? She shouted coquettishly. She was keenly aware of a trace of abnormality. A human breath appeared in the core area of Beidou Great Forest. So the breath I feel is you. The visitor appeared slowly, stepping on the broken branches that had been corroded for thousands of years, making a rattling sound. Looking at the figure slowly approaching from the shadow of the forest. Lanyan's spirit was tense like never before. The other party sneaked into her domain without a sound. The core area of the Beidou Great Forest has always been known as the Human Forbidden Zone. Even the Soul Seal Palace, one of the strongest in the Eastern Continent, only dares to step into it cautiously when a group of tidal fighting spirits gather together. But the appearance in front of her was just a girl of the same age as her, so she quietly bypassed so many plants and arrived in front of her. With this level of strength, could it be that he is also a powerhouse of extreme fighting spirits? She was shocked, but soon he calmed down his emotions. He just stared at the person coming. Ancient, what the hell is going on? Why didn't the plants have the slightest warning? While gaining momentum, Lanyan transmitted the voice. During this time, she has become familiar with the ancient tree. When encountering such an unimaginable question, it is natural to ask it. Old trees sway, a piece of green Yifei dances. It seems to be telling her the answer. Don't worry, the person in front of you is not the enemy. He has the breath of the Lord on him. Your friend, she is. Lanyan was startled when he heard the words, and felt carefully. Sure enough, this breath is very familiar. Just thinking about it for a moment. Lanyan recalled who exactly this breath belonged to. The voice that helped me. Nolan Ying also remembered. Two women look at each other. There is joy in the eyes. Are you also helped by him? Lanyan took the lead in letting go of her guard, and stepped forward to grab Nolan Ying's hand. Well, it counts. Nolan Ying smiled, looking at Lanyan with tenderness in her eyes. Look up and down. There was a lot of surprise in each other's eyes. Nolan Ying could feel the strength of Lanyan, and couldn't help but sigh with emotion. It seems that you have also received a lot of help from him. Lanyan nodded slightly. If it wasn't for him, I'm afraid that I would still be that useless girl with an awakened trash martial spirit. Her face darkened slightly. Nolan Ying stretched out her hand to hold Lanyan's jade palm. Me too. If it wasn't for his help, how could I be like this about the divorce? In this life, I might also be trampled underfoot by those lofty and talented soul masters. Both of them looked at each other and thought deeply. Who is it that has such a life-changing experience? Flora is rubbish. It is the consensus of all the people on the mainland. But that, he, made them crush Tianzhou and kick the evildoer. This is something that plant-type soul masters never dared to think about before. This is also the help he gave. Nolan Ying pointed to the unusual creatures around her. As if they understood their words, the blue-silver grass fluttered, as if nodding to the guest who came from afar. Lan Yin had also noticed it a long time ago. It is completely different from the life of a soul beast. Plant soul beast. Is it a powerful person who can create such a miracle? The girl muttered to Shin. The one who created a new race. Maybe it can't be called human. Is it the lord of these plants or are? Nolan Ying lowered her head, thinking on her beautiful face, and looked at the sky. Report. 59%. Chapter 38. Together. Soul Seal Hall. It's been more than a month. Why can't I find the slightest trace of that woman after exhausting all the manpower in the entire continent? The Pope paced back and forth in the hall, distraught. Report. His Excellency, the border. At this moment, the frontier envoy hurried into the hall and knelt down in front of him. What's the matter? The Pope suppressed his unhappiness and snorted lightly. The frontier envoy hurriedly said, My lord, the demons are marching and invading the border on a large scale. More than 100 defense lines on the border have completely collapsed, and the general territory of Soul Fighting Continent has been captured. Quote, what? How could they? The Pope's face turned pale, and the anxiety in his heart instantly turned into anxiety. Over the years, although the demons have been attacking the border, most of them are tentative attacks and harassment. At most it is a joint attack on a fortress. But unexpectedly, this time the demons attacked in an all-round way, and the Soul Seal Hall was caught off guard. Just when the Pope was in a state of anxiety, a golden beam of light suddenly shone in the hall, and then an old man wearing white clothes and a golden mask appeared in front of the two of them. Your Majesty. 773. When the Pope saw the figure of the old man, he was overjoyed immediately, and hurriedly knelt on the ground, saluting respectfully. And the frontier envoy hurriedly retreated to the side of the hall when he saw this. He was not qualified to meet the strongest person in Yindian. The old man snorted coldly. Although your injury has healed, your mood is still so impetuous. No wonder your realm has been stagnant. A trace of embarrassment flashed across the Pope's face, and he hurriedly explained, Your Majesty, don't blame me for being so gaff, it's really a big deal, the border demons are. The old man waved his hand and interrupted the Pope's defense. I know that the demons have gained a huge advantage in attacking the border, and the allied forces of the Soul Seal Palace are retreating and almost collapsed. But so what? Even if the demons captured the entire Soul Seal continent, what does it have to do with us? I'm already a limit Duluo. Even in the demon army, there are few characters who can hurt me. It's not a problem for me to protect myself. The Pope was stunned, and said in disbelief, but the foundation of the Soul Seal Hall. Gia, what is it compared to yourself? The old man sneered again and again. I created the Soul Seal Palace to collect resources in the Soul Continent BCAC, supply myself, and strengthen my strength, so that I can take that legendary step. Now, I have stayed above the limit Duluo realm for too long, and external forces are useless to me. Even if this Soul Seal Palace is destroyed, it is naturally only a trivial matter. The two were chatting, but the frontier envoy who retreated to the side was startled and almost shouted. These two guys actually want to give up resistance and protect themselves. How shameless. In this troubled world, all the strong will volunteer to fight against the demons. These two people in power in the Soul Seal Hall were lucky enough to be discussing how to be alone. It's simply not as good as these little people. Before the discussion between the Pope and the old man was halfway through, there was a shout from outside the Soul Seal Hall. Pope of the Soul Seal Hall, get out. At the same time, the momentum of the first charge, like thunder from the heavens, swept across the entire Soul Seal Palace in an instant. Level 97. Or 2. Damn it. Why is that little girl's cultivation speed so monstrous? The Pope discerned that one of the auras was clearly the Lan Yin who had beaten him seriously injured a month ago and fled away. This guy suffered a lot of injuries when Mian's subordinates were defeated, and he was only level 96. Why did you get promoted to the same level as yourself after 1 month passed? The old man snorted coldly, took a step forward, and the next second his figure appeared outside the Soul Seal Hall. Two beautiful figures stood in front of the main hall, looking at the old man in the sky without fear. The last time I spared your life, I didn't expect you to dare to die. There was faint anger in the old man's tone. He is used to being in a position of superiority and innocence. Being provoked twice by a junior is really unbearable. Even if he was a little apprehensive about the faint threat emanating from behind Lanyon, he couldn't care less about it. After finishing speaking, the old man stretched out a hand, and countless golden beams of light fell towards the surroundings in an instant. The beam of light has the power of purification, and it will melt instantly when it comes into contact with matter. Such a strange scene, like a divine punishment from the heavens, makes people shudder. Since you two have disobeyed my soul seal hall, then death is the only way for you to be forgiven. The old man stood in midair, his voice was cold. Get out of the way. Lan Yinqing shouted, and Lan Yinwang rushed out instantly, with an unrivaled aura, charged towards Nalan Ying who couldn't dodge in time. Her purpose is naturally not to attack, but to construct a protective shield to buy time for Nalan Ying. The blue-silver emperor formed a thick protective umbrella above Nalan Ying's tender body. See, the golden beam of light bombarded the huge body of the blue-silver emperor, melting this layer of protection in just an instant. Nalan Ying had seen the old man's methods before, so her reaction was a bit slow, but she only reacted instantly. The moment before the blue-silver emperor's protective umbrella melted, he retreated violently, staying away from the attacking range of the beam of light. With one blow, the two genius level 97 title Duluo were in a panic. This is the power of limit Duluo. Myanxia's strength seems to be only one step away from the legendary one. The Pope watched the battle in midair, and was amazed in his heart. However, it was these two women that made him even more terrified. How old are they? They are only 12 or 13 years old. Not to mention becoming a titled Duluo at this age, they are actually capable of resisting a single blow. If it were me, I'm afraid I would be purified into nothingness by the light of judgment in an instant. The other side, after titled Duluo, the gap between each level is a natural barrier. You may be geniuses. In the future, it is not impossible to get involved in my realm, or even hit the legendary realm. It's just that you are too big to challenge me at level 97, it's really stupid. In midair, the old man's voice was extremely indifferent, with an undeniable majesty. It seems to be announcing the death sentence for the two of them. Under the reverberation of this voice, the state of mind of Lan Yin and Nalan Ying seemed to be affected. Lan Yin was surprised to find that her soul power had stagnated a little under the shadow of the old man. Moreover, this sense of stagflation has become clearer and stronger as time goes by. No, this is a soul skill. Nalan Ying discovered her own anomaly, and quickly said to Lan Yin, we must make a quick decision, otherwise we will only become more and more disadvantaged. Report, 59%. Chapter 39, Fierce Battle. Lan Yin also nodded in agreement, but was still worried. Quick fix. Dealing with a limit Duluo. How difficult. Even under normal circumstances, the 297 level title Duluo are at an extreme disadvantage if they want to face the limit Duluo. Not to mention being affected by the opponent's soul skills. Blue and silver twine. The blue-silver emperor rose suddenly, entangled under the old man's body, and his body with golden lines firmly locked his limbs. Oh, this is also a soul skill. Although it is tough, but not the slightest aggressive. The old man roared loudly, 100 feet of golden light bloomed all over his body, and the blue-silver emperor that touched it melted instantly like ice and snow. The old man sneered again and again. It would be very troublesome for the blue-silver emperor to stand up. But for his level of strength, the blue-silver emperor is only a headache to control. As for the attack, not afraid at all. Just when the old man was full of confidence, a green phantom attacked and smashed hard on his body. Blood mist filled the sky. Blow in the wind. It turned out that Lanyon's blue and silver entanglement was just to buy time for Nalan Ying's attack. Above the void, the old man who was originally standing proudly like a god, his robes were full of ruins. Even the golden mask was smashed into pieces. Embarrassed. All right, okay, I thought that you, the blue-silver emperor, only focused on control and defense, but I didn't expect this little girl's martial soul to be so outstanding in terms of attack and attack. You are qualified to see my true strength. There was no expression of anger on the old man's face, but from his tone, anyone could feel the desire for destruction. After saying that, bursts of golden light suddenly bloomed from the old man's body, and at the same time a huge phantom also appeared behind him. His martial soul, his martial spirit is actually an angel, no wonder. The golden phantom solidified in an instant, and the 6 wings on the back spread out one by one. The face was covered with a golden mask, holding a spear, and wearing a golden armor. 1 yellow, 2 purple, 3 black, 3 red, with rings wrapped around it. The holy and terrifying aura slowed down the breathing of everyone present. Fe, the legendary servant symbol of the gods. No wonder the strength of the old man is so terrifying. If you died under this trick, you have the right to be proud. As soon as the spirit avatar appeared, the old man stopped hesitating and waved his hand. The seraphim behind him shot towards Lanyan with a spear in his hand. Before the spear was released from his hand, the surrounding air seemed to be poured in with the angel, and then reached a critical point. The surrounding golden light condensed on the spear tip and came out of his hand. With the flight of the spear, a little bit of space shattered into shards above the orbit, and then immediately recovered. This blow cannot be resisted. Lanyan wanted to escape, but soon found that the space around her had been frozen, and she couldn't move. Break it! The blue-silver emperor rushed out. Hundreds of vines whipped towards the seraph, but before they could get close, Fu was melted into nothingness by the surrounding golden light. No, Lanyan gritted her teeth, and her soul power circulated crazily. Blue and silver twine. Blue-silver true body. Blue-silver prison. In an instant, countless blue-silver emperors blocked Lanyan's body, firmly protecting her in the center. But Lanyan knew that all of this was just a dying struggle. The power of that spear, even a limit Duluo who pays attention to defense, will be melted in an instant, let alone a small title Duluo like himself. Am I really going to die? In an instant, Lanyan thought of a lot. My own experience in this life, like a revolving lantern, hovers before my eyes. She remembered what her mother taught her when she was a child. I thought of my mother's warm embrace, and the day when my mother was taken away by the Soul Seal Hall. These years of penance, countless blood and bitterness turned into a sigh at this moment. Mother, I'm sorry, Lanyan can't avenge you anymore. However, boom, a green cannonball, wrapped in a crazy momentum, slammed into the spear. Although the cannonball disappeared in an instant, the trajectory of the spear changed significantly. The spear originally aimed at Lanyan's heart, after being hit, unexpectedly shifted slightly, and finally landed on Lanyan's lower abdomen. Nolan Ying, thank you. After one blow, Lanyan's space blockade was lifted, and she was overjoyed and immediately changed positions. If it wasn't for Nolan Ying's attack, Lanyan's life might have been given here. Ask for flowers. The blue-silver emperor's control ability and defensive power were second to none, but in terms of attack power, it was still not satisfactory. And Nolan Ying's martial spirit went to another extreme after attacking. It requires long-term storage and is extremely fragile. But once the attack is made, even the ultimate Duluo will be seriously injured. The vitality of the blue-silver emperor was tenacious. Under the vitality supply of hundreds of millions of blue-silver grasses and the blessing of the spirit avatar, Lanyan quickly recovered from his injuries. But their greatest crisis has not yet been resolved. Oh, you can dodge this roll too. A look of surprise appeared on the old man's face. It then turned into anger. This move is his unique technique. Once activated, it can even kill limit Duluo of the same level. 0.00. But using Nai he once would cost too much, making it difficult to use it continuously. Therefore, the hidden person had the idea of retreating in his heart. These two people are too evil. If I want to kill them today, I'm afraid it will cost a lot. Anyway, the demons have entered the country, and the destruction of the Soul Seal Palace is a certainty. It's better for me to retire, concentrate on cultivation, and prepare to break through the legendary realm. Thinking of this, the old man snorted coldly, flicked his sleeves and released hundreds of golden beams of light, put away the angel's real body, and was about to retreat. No, he wants to escape. Nolan Ying shouted softly. Lanyan snorted coldly. Want to escape? How could it be so simple? Blue and silver twine. Blue-silver prison. The body of the blue-silver emperor condensed into prisons 100 meters above the sky, enveloping the old man. And thick vines grow under the feet, locking the old man's hands and feet together. The two soul skills are used daily. This is an almost impossible skill for ordinary people, but under Lanyan's display, it is a piece of cake. Damn it, why is this prison so tough? Just as the old man wanted to mobilize his soul power to leave, he was trapped by the blue-silver prison. If it's just a prison, it doesn't take much effort. However, when Unicom Blue and Silver were entwined and performed together, it was known that he could not move at all. Not to mention the use of soul skills. Nolan Ying. Lanyan turned to look over. Clear. At the same time, the soul power in Lanyan's hands skyrocketed, and the Japanese spear took shape in her hands. Blue-Silver Overlord Spearman. Report. 60%. Chapter 40. Kill. No, I can't dodge. The old man who was entangled by the blue-silver emperor could feel two extremely ferocious attacks coming towards him. Impossible. How could this be an attack from Title Duluo? The old man crazily released golden light, melting the blue-silver emperor around him, but no matter what he couldn't get rid of the blue-silver emperor's shackles. Song Neng watched the two attacks coming towards him. A dark blue spear and a green phantom finally intersect at one point. Boom! The soaring soul power explosion fluctuated in midair, forming a spectacular scene like a mushroom cloud. The surrounding buildings within 100 miles were reduced to ruins, including the incomparable Soul Seal Hall. And the old man in midair lost his vitality in an instant in front of the two big attacks. They actually killed Your Majesty. September 73 inches in the distance, the Pope looked at the lifeless corpse in midair, his eyes full of disbelief. In the Pope's mind, His Majesty's strength is unfathomable and has always been a representative of invincibility. When I was a child, the doctor was already the ultimate Duluo. And after he became a titled Duluo, the strength of the old man has reached an unbelievable level. There is even only one step away from the legendary realm, ascending to God. Even, the martial soul under the crown is a rare seraphim in the world. It represents the phantom of a powerful family in the upper world. Possess supreme authority and strength. How could he be beheaded so easily by two little girls? Their spirits are nothing more than waste plant spirits. Most importantly, these two people were provoked by themselves. Escape. The Pope reacted. They killed Your Majesty, and I will be next. The Pope used his soul power and wanted to escape. However, a clear voice came from afar, looking for death. A blue-silver emperor struck from hundreds of miles away, wrapped around the Pope's neck with the force of wind and thunder, and then stopped slightly. Who? A head with a frightened expression was completely removed. The two heads were neatly arranged in front of Lanyon. Hundreds of miles away, on the periphery of the Soul Seal Hall, there was a large group of people looking towards this side. Some are people who are not used to doing things in the Soul Seal Palace on weekdays, some are strong alone, and more, are people who come to watch a good show. They were originally attracted by this battle, and wanted to see who dared to challenge the majesty of the Soul Seal Hall, but they did not expect to witness the scene where the old man and the Pope were killed by two young girls. Everyone is shocked. The Hall of Soul Seal has occupied the mainland for so long, it's time to reshuffle the forces. The Pope was instantly killed by that plant-type martial spirit. And that mysterious old man, could it be the first Pope in the legend? The world is about to change. Plant martial spirit, how could it be so terrifying? The heads of these two people, I want to take them to pay homage to my mother, do you want to go together? Lanyon looked at the Pope's head, and there was not much excitement on his face, but there was an indescribable loneliness in his tone. The great revenge was avenged, but the mother never came back. Nolan Ying nodded, and was about to nod in agreement, when a figure emerged from the ruins. Wait a minute. It was the frontier messenger who witnessed the whole time. The messenger first stepped forward to salute respectfully, and then said, "The two of you who act on behalf of the heavens must be kind-hearted and righteous people, and will definitely help in the face of the catastrophe in the soul-fighting continent." The two frowned when they heard the words. Nolan Ying asked, "What do you mean?" The messenger told the demons to attack the border, and the Pope were going to give up the soul continent. Nolan Ying said immediately after hearing the words, "The matter is of great importance, we are also human beings, so naturally we will not let the demons do their best." After the three of them discussed, Lanyon took the head to pay homage to his mother, and Nolan Ying went to stop the demons first. Although the Soul Seal Hall has been destroyed, there are still many Soul Masters left, and they are willing to be dispatched by Nolan Ying to go to the border. After all, this world is full of respect. Nolan Ying summoned the deacons of the Hall of Souls who were watching the battle from a distance, and with a slight stare, those Soul Duluo obediently obeyed the order. Because of Nolan Ying's age, she didn't feel slack in the slightest. In the void, the students looked down. The two great empires of the two kingdoms summoned the Soul Masters from all over the world to fight against the demons. Quote, "But the demons are born for destruction. They are endless and powerful. Even if the Soul Masters try their best, they can't resist, and the line of defense is tightened step by step. Even titled Duluo-level existences have been massacred by the demons. Soul-fighting continent is in an unprecedented crisis." A student couldn't help sighing while watching this scene. This situation is quite unfriendly to students like them. You know, it's only been a few years, and the arms that I'm waiting for haven't fully developed, how can it be possible to resist the mighty demons? And, with the invasion of the demons, many resources have been robbed, which is even worse for them. Bai Mengmeng was also worried. Could it be that our first alien test is about to fail? Chu Yuyan was even more helpless. Worry was written all over her pretty face. If our class fails in the first alien trial, I'm afraid we will all be ridiculed in the future. It's not a big deal to be ridiculed. The key is that once the trial fails, many people will be expelled from Phoenix Academy. It's a pity. I'm afraid no one can save the situation. After speaking, all the students present sighed in unison. Except Su Zi. He had a calm and breezy look on his face, as if he was out of it. Seeing this expression, Feng Zixuan sneered. Suzy, although you were extremely talented, you probably have no chance in the face of the siege of endless demons. Everyone also turned their attention to Suzy. That's right, this evildoer who turned out to be out of the sky. In this trial, Seping didn't have any particularly outstanding performance. Perhaps a few units with good talents have been cultivated. But so what? No matter how powerful an individual is, in the face of the absolute number of demons, it is still a gnat that can shake a tree. Can you defeat the demons and gain luck? Facing everyone's doubts, Suzy just casually stretched out a finger and pointed to a certain place in the soul-fighting continent. Then with his hands behind his back, he said lightly, "The trend has come. That is, from this day on. On the frontier against the demons." A boy with a sword appeared. The sword is an inferior bamboo sword. People are the sword heart. He faced millions of demons raging. A sword is cut out, and the sword energy is raging like frost. Thousands of miles of demons were slaughtered. A young man in straw sandals and core raincoat stands on a high place, looking up to the sky and drinking. Sword energy spans 30,000 miles, and one sword's light chills 19 continents. 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 And one sword's light chills 19 continents.